It's time for Twig This Week at Google. Paris Martineau is here. Jeffrey Allen Jarvis is here. We're going to talk about a lot of things, including Google's new Gemini AI. It's part of Bard. You'll see it in the Bard chat client and as well as on your Pixel phone using Gemini Nano. And what a demo. We're going to take a look at the demo. It's pretty darn impressive. It makes me think general intelligence is not too far off. There's some great stories about how we got here with AI. A new app that goes on your Android device that gives you messages compatibility without a third-party server. We'll find out more about the Oxford English Dictionary Word of the Year, a word I'd never heard of. But Paris will explain. She's young. She's hip. It's all coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig. This Week in Google, episode 745, recorded Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. Livvy rizzed up baby Gronk. This Week in Google is brought to you by Bitwarden, the open source password manager to help you stay safe online. Get started with a free Teams or Enterprise plan trial, or get started for free across all devices as an individual user at bitwarden.com/twit. And by Collide. Collide is a device trust solution for companies with Okta. Collide ensures if a device isn't trusted and secure, it can't log into your cloud apps. Visit KOLIDE.com/twig to book an on-demand demo today. And by Melissa, the global leader in contact data quality. Bad data is bad business. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. It's time for Twig, which I think we're going to call... And we're not. This Week in General, the show that's about Google and a lot of other stuff. Hello, Paris Martineau. Great to see you and Gizmo, your sweet little kitty.
Hello. Gizmo will or will not be making an appearance. It's not my choice.
She got very shy as soon as the cameras came on.
Yeah.
Oh, well. And Mr. Jeffrey Allen Jarvis is falling asleep. Hello, Jeffrey Allen Jarvis.
I got up 17 and a half hours ago.
Oh, no wonder you want to get the show on the road. What were you doing?
I was in Vienna.
Austria?
Yes.
Not Virginia? Vienna, Austria?
No.
And you flew home and you
place.
haven't gone to sleep since?
I tried to take a nap on the plane. It didn't succeed. I tried to take a nap here and it didn't succeed. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, we'll put you to sleep.
I should sleep well tonight.
You'll sleep well during the show, I have
After this show. Yeah.
He is the Leonard Tow Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New.
For one more week.
Oh, it's begun. The deorbiting has
Deorbiting, yes. We're heating up now. Yes,
Did you see, speaking of deorbiting, our good friend Joan Donovan, who we did invite to be on the show today, but probably wisely declined, is she suing Harvard? She's
filing complaints against. She has a suit against. Yes, it's a suit.
Does she want money? $500 million? What is she?
I don't know what the ask is, but she wants revenge, I think, which was the case when she was on our show, right? We did that book. I don't know if we can find Joe Esposito's cover for the book.
Oh, yeah. We made up a title for her book. So she's pretty miffed, shall we say, about Harvard.
Understatement, very good.
Harvard firing her. As you know, she... and we've had her on the show several times. Love her. She's one of our favorite guests. She specializes in disinformation. Her first book was called Meme Wars and is brilliant. I highly recommend reading it. It's about, how the meme kind of took over, starting with 4chan and on and on and on. She was fired's not the right word, but she was deorbited at Harvard and has gone on since, by the way.
They took away her primary work, saying that a faculty member that at Harvard, you can't do anything unless it is sponsored by a real faculty member.
Yeah.
And she wasn't a tenured faculty member.
In fact, according to the Washington Post, Harvard's response to Donovan's claims are that she was a staff employee, that Harvard had not been able to find a faculty sponsor to oversee her, as university policy requires. It also denies that she was fired, saying she was offered the chance to continue as a part-time adjunct lecturer.
Which pays about $200.
Yeah, and she chose not to. Good news is that Joan has found an excellent post at Boston University, but she is accusing Harvard, and this is really the accusation, of taking money from Meta, and as a result, getting rid of her. She was one of the people who got the Facebook papers. Frances Haugens.
And she previously was the research director of Harvard Kennedy School's projects on like mis and disinformation. She ran a really incredible kind of group there that put together, was really instrumental in helping journalists cover mis and disinformation in this crucial time, and co-authoring a lot of reports that shone a light on what Facebook and Meta was doing at the time.
Now, full disclosure, I should mention that when Joan was at Data and Society before going to Harvard, I funded her work there through the News Integrity Initiative, which was funded in great measure by Facebook.
Yeah. Not to the tune of $500 million, however. The Chan Zuckerberg Initiative gave Harvard $500 million for a new artificial intelligence institute at the university. Now, prior to that, Joan had obtained the Facebook papers and championed their importance before an audience of Harvard donors that included Facebook's former top communications executive. That's
Elliot Schrage.
Yeah. So she that was October of 2021. And the papers were absolutely devastating for Facebook. They said, in effect, that Facebook knew that what they were doing was harmful to young women, and that Zuckerberg
there's some back and forth about in Haugen's version, it was somewhat selective in what was put out, and there's been a lot written since. But yes, there were things in there they certainly didn't want out.
Donovan was the main, I'm reading from the Washington Post article, the main attraction at a Zoom meeting for top Kennedy School donors October 29th. At that meeting, she said the papers show Meta knew the harms it was causing. Elliot Schrage asked repeated questions during the meeting, said she badly misunderstood the papers. By the way, this is all in a 248-page filing that Joan Donovan has submitted to the Education Department and the Massachusetts Attorney General. So that was October 29th.
Schrage is no longer at Facebook. Just
10 days after that meeting, 10 days later, Kennedy School Dean Doug Elmendorf, a former director of the Congressional Budget Office, emailed Donovan with pointed questions about her research goals and methods, launching an increase in oversight that restricted her activities and led to her dismissal before the end of her contract. This is according to Joan's declaration. So October 2021, she has this meeting. 10 days later, Harvard, which knew, by the way, they were going to get this $500 million, aims pointed comments at her. And December 7th of that year, it's announced that they're going to give the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative is going to give them $500 million.
The one thing about something like this is I think that it's a lot easier to show that Harvard probably acted in conflict of interest. Whether Chan Zuckerberg had any knowledge of this, I doubt that we'll know.
We may never know, even if Harvard did this on purpose. It's one of those causal chains where, this is the sequence, but did it one thing cause the other? We don't know.
Harvard has lots of lawyers.
So look,
but Joan was making when we had her on right after she left, she was making noises about getting her just desserts, and she's getting them. Joan's going for him. That's very Joan.
Elmendorf has declined to comment to the Washington Post.
Yeah. The Harvard Kennedy School has had, I won't go into great details, but they've had some other bad stuff they've done to people.
And sadly, disinformation researchers all over the country are actually under a lot of pressure in academia.
Yes.
Our good friend who was on, a couple of weeks ago from Stanford is no longer at the Stanford Internet Observatory.
What?
Yeah. But I think
Stamos?
I think Alex
Stamos?
Yeah.
Stamos.
He and Chris Krebs sold their company to Sentinel-1, and it may be that this was on his initiative. I don't know.
Yeah, I believe he said in the show that it was something about being an officer at a public company.
Right.
At the same time. But I mean, that besides the point, you're right in the fact that people who report on or research mis and disinformation are often the target of harassment campaigns that often end up with them losing their jobs.
Yeah. And much of the regulatory presumptions about where we might go forward with regulating social media rely on independent researchers, and they need support, financial and otherwise. And because government's not going to do it because they don't have the facility to do it. The companies themselves aren't trusted to do it. We need independent researchers to do this work, and we need to find ways to have them do it in safe circumstances.
You may remember when Joan was on last time. Was it her title or our title? I think her title was...
I think it was her title.
Anarchy in the Academy, a memoir by Joan Donovan. And this was, of course, Joe Esposito's tentative cover, blood-stained cover with the Harvard logo on it. I'm sure Joan won't get the right to use the Harvard logo on her cover. But yeah, I mean, I think she was implying this. And I think that's the real point, Paris, is that they're under pressure. You know, there's a really, I think, horrible quote in the Washington Post piece. At one point, the dean, Elmendorf, according to her, told her she did not have academic freedom because she was staff rather than faculty.
Right.
And so, in a way, if he really said that, that's the smoking gun, right? Anyway, we love Joan. We have great. I think we have really a great regard for her. I don't know what really happened. I'm glad she's on a tenured track at Boston University. I guess that's the bottom line. Anyway, interesting story. And regarding one of our favorite people, I thought I'd pass that along to you. There is a lot of Google news. We might have to change the show name back. Nothing general about this week's stories. Oh, I should mention Ant has the day off. You might notice there is no Ant here.
I was just going to remind you of that.
Yes, yeah. But you know what? You guys, it's Paris and her grandparents, which is, I think, a great...
Yeah, it's my favorite podcast.
In fact, we were going to call it This Week in Grandpa's, and then you showed up, so...
It's true. I'm really sorry, guys. I knew you guys were kind of toying around between that and This Week in Geriatrics. And, I'm sorry that I threw a wrench in that.
It's going to be this Week in Grumps.
Yeah, that's
This
good
Week
too.
in Grumps we could do.
We're doing that tomorrow.
Tomorrow,
we're doing that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Our holiday
I can't
show
wait.
Will be. It's called Lisa said
It should be Oops All Grumps.
Oops All Grumps. It's the old farts twit with you, Jeff, me, Steve Gibson, Doc Searles. What other old fart am I missing? Who?
There's somebody I haven't met.
Oh, now I've forgotten.
There's somebody else on the list.
Anyway, we record that tomorrow. It will be for Wednesday, December, let me look at the calendar, 27th. So that'll be this special. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's Christmas Eve. What am I saying? It's a twit. It'll be Sunday the 24th. It's Christmas Eve twit.
You can go to church and celebrate the birth of God, or you can see four really angry old men grump at each other. Your choice.
Which is more inspiring.
Yeah.
Rod Pyle's part of it. He's not that old. All right, we're gonna have one guy who's not in his. Is he in his 60s? He's my age. Oh, he's old. All right, he's my live and learn. I hate him. He looks younger than me. All right. So the Google stories, of which there are quite a few, and most of them are AI focused. Google has decided to ship. Google was way behind in the AI thing, right? I think they got
no. Google had done tons and tons and tons of stuff with AI. in its products, in translation, in completion, in every single level of products, but they didn't really get credit for it until along comes cool ChatGPT. Google did more than anybody else in AI, I would argue, but they felt left behind.
Well, it was under the covers.
Yes, it was inside. It was AI inside.
So nobody knew. I mean, for all we know,
Exactly.
Apple's doing the same thing.
Right.
We know Meta has been doing a lot only because their Lambda model leaked out, and now they're embracing that. Amazon's probably doing something similar. Anyway, so Bard was Google's response to ChatGPT, and they now have a new AI model. It just came out today called Gemini. And Gemini, which is, they say, their most powerful AI to date, will be coming to Bard and Pixel 8 smartphones. If you have a Pixel 8 Pro, it'll come today.
That's going to be Gemini Lite, Gemini Mini.
Yeah, because the model's too big to fit on a phone. So they'll have a smaller version of it for your phone. And and it'll be more constrained in what it can do. The Pixel, this will be one of the Pixel feature drops for December. I have not gotten mine yet, or I would show you. But one of the things it'll do is give you the ability to summarize whatever it's recorded or whatever.
They said it was already in Bard, didn't they? I went to Bard and I said, "Are you run on Gemini now?" And they said, "Well, I'm just a model. I don't know anything about Gemini.
Doesn't know
Gemini
nothing.
Could be this, Gemini could be that. I don't know anything."
I've never heard of Gemini.
Exactly.
Google says this is their top line message, according to Gizmodo. I love this. This is way better than anything you're going to get from OpenAI.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Sundar Pichai said today, this new era of models represents one of the biggest science and engineering efforts we've undertaken as a company. That's saying quite a bit for a company like Google. I'm genuinely excited for what's ahead and for the opportunities Gemini will unlock for people everywhere. Are we decided that we could say Gemini? When I was a kid, I said Gemini. Like the NASA.
Really?
Yeah, the NASA rocket program was Gemini, right? No?
No.
No, it was Gemini. That's how you pronounce
All right,
it, right?
It's This Week in Pronunciation. All right, let's ask Google.
Yeah.
How do you pronounce?
Am I just crazy thinking it was Gemini? Maybe as a kid and I didn't know any better.
Gemini crickets. Maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Wait. Leo might have a win, a rare win.
No,
No.
she said Gemini. I heard it.
She said Gemini.
But there is an alternate pronunciation.
Yeah,
is there not?
Well, you're always doing alternates, Leo.
I don't like to do what everybody does.
Well, is it Gemini or Gemini?
Gemini. According to Wikipedia, it's Gemini. It comes from the Greek, actually, Gemini. No,
I think there are too many things named Gemini. Wasn't there a short-lived crypto company? Or maybe it's still around?
I'm sure there
named
was. Gemini Coin. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So in 2018, John Schwartz, who's a wonderful editor now at University of Texas, wrote about, so which is it? How do you pronounce Gemini? The First Man, a new film about Neil Armstrong, has him saying it both ways.
Oh, wow. I think in the Gemini program, back in the days of, because that was, the first astronauts were Mercury, and then Gemini, and then Apollo. And I do remember as a kid, John's looking at me like I'm nuts. Maybe, is it Gemini? I don't know. I still think it's apricot, so what do I know?
Well, because Neil Armstrong said Gemini, so you just grabbed onto that.
Yeah.
Because he's your hero, I'm sure.
He is absolutely my hero. Are you kidding? He's not yours? Who's your hero? Carl Yastrzemski?
There was a UPI story at the time. NASA clears up way Gemini is pronounced.
And what does NASA say?
Jiminy. As in Jiminy Cricket.
No. Really?
Yeah.
See?
Wait, really?
This is where they announced the program. It's new Man in Space program, Jiminy, as in Jiminy Cricket.
See?
That was the word today from the Public Affairs Office.
I did not make it up. I'm just old. That's all.
Spacecraft Center near Houston.
Yeah. I'm just old.
I thought I was just being silly.
Well, I'm suspecting that Google calls it Gemini. Let's stay with that. Are you ready? Here's an article on Wired, how to use Google's Gemini AI right now in its Bard chat bot. You want to try this, Jeff? Get your Bard going.
Yes.
Okay.
Here we go.
Get your Bard.
I'll be growling because it won't let me do what I'm supposed to be able to do with it. But go ahead, because I have that kind of account. But keep going.
Okay. Using Gemini inside of Bard is as simple as visiting the website in your browser and logging in. So
Okay, duh.
Okay, I'm there.
Okay, I'm looking. I don't see anything that says, "Hey, you want to use Gemini?"
I think you enter the prompt here.
Well, let me see.
Right?
Let me go back to Wired.
That's what I did. I said, "Are you using Gemini?"
Yeah, but that Bard doesn't know nothing. You ought to know that.
But I thought Bard was baby Gemini.
Oh, wait. LOL got that wrong earlier today.
Oh.
Bard is on Gemini Pro in English across most of the world as of December 6th, 2023. Isn't that hilarious?
Oh, that's
It
hysterical.
says LOL got that wrong earlier today? That's very funny.
It's always funny when an AI gets something wrong, isn't it? It's always an LOL.
Does it capitalize LOL in all caps, or is it
Yes.
lowercase?
Yes. Earlier today, I asked who I am, because that's what you do, and it got things wrong, and I told it what was right. It's still, it got different things wrong now.
Okay.
Well, that's one of the natures of this is it's hard to actually correct it, the corpus. Yeah,
hard
here I
part
got
about
the same
seeing-
thing. LOL got that wrong earlier
must have got a
today.
lot of people
Bard
asking
is
them.
on Gemini Pro in English. Okay, so
Just me.
now
So Leo, I put a video in. What they're emphasizing so strongly is that it's multimodal, and we can't really play with the multimodal part of this. So there's a video demo I put in.
and multimodal means it will give you images, or you could provide images.
You can provide
Leo
images too,
Laporte,
yeah.
who you call this old guy, is a well-known figure. I'm getting spanked by an AI in tech world. Here's a quick overview of his background and accomplishments. That's the correct birthday, correct birthplace. This is just from Wikipedia. Co-founder of ZTV.
Yeah, but isn't that AGI?
Not really
Leo?
true.
It doesn't matter where it gets it from.
Oh, playback Leo to Leo.
Founded the Trip Podcast Network 2005. So far, so good. Got the
Nicknamed the tech guy. Is that what you wore in your badge?
yeah.
We have to correct that. No,
the
tell
tech
it.
guy.
No, it's not the tech guy. Nicknamed Lele.
Lele. Why? Word winning. If it said childhood nickname Lele, I would be very. Oh, I'm a respected figure. Look at that. Did it say that about you?
Known
Jeff?
for his enthusiasm,
No.
humor, and ability to explain complex topics in a clear and accessible way. Wow.
I knew I shouldn't have put that in my Wikipedia article. Oh well. Active on Twit, social media presence, public speaking. Why
It says I'm on this week in Google.
I called it this old guy, and he really didn't like that. While you might call him this old guy, I am a prominent, influential figure in the tech world. I'm gonna send this to Apple. His passion, knowledge, and ability to communicate complex information have earned him a loyal following and established him as leading tech. Wow, gosh, I'm gonna send this to my dad. Wow, thank you. I love this new Gemini. Pretty good, huh?
Pretty good.
So it didn't get anything wrong on me.
Is Paris Martineau?
They're not going to know. I don't have a Wikipedia.
You don't?
No.
Well, you're going to tonight. Nope, I don't have enough information.
Wow, I'm unknowable. It's pretty fun.
Under the radar, Paris.
I'm out in the abyss.
Oh, Leo's doing something.
I thought if I gave it, tell me about the writer for the information known as Paris Gabrielle Martin.
Oh,
Gave it a little bit more information. Let's see if it helps.
Ooh.
Thinking, working.
Thinking.
No.
Wow. Come
I'm
on. That's even
sorry.
indexable, Bard.
I bet you ChatGPT
That's
would
actually
do better.
pretty nice. Last time I asked ChatGPT, I think it made up lies about me, but that's fine.
Lies. All lies.
if you ask who is Craig Newmark, you're going to see something very timely and important in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Craig.
Exactly. Happy birthday, Craig.
Do you think it did that for me last week? I will never know
it didn't say
because
his happy birthday.
I
It
was
says
in my
what day
digital
it is.
detox.
Paris knows.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't check.
See what you missed, Leo?
Oh man, I
Yeah.
missed a birthday greeting from a robot. Doesn't say that. By the way,
Craig's birthday.
it didn't say that here.
Well, no, Paris is just on the news, so she knows that today is his birthday.
Oh, I see.
It's true.
Because Craig had stuff on Twitter, and I wished him a happy birthday on Twitter, as did many others.
Here's what ChatGPT 4 says, oh, see, ChatGPT 4 is smart. It went out and looked at Bing. See, Google, you lied. It's not, see? Look at this. Paris Martineau is an investigative reporter, feature writer, currently recording the information. Before joining the information, it works as a reporter at Wired.
Google's in there.
Important stories. Additionally, regular
He's an
co-host.
irregular co-host.
Wow.
I wrote those paragraphs. That's from my bio. But
Is it?
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Is it really? That's hysterical.
It is.
But see, that's the okay.
It works.
We just answered Google's assertion that it's better than ChatGPT.
Well,
as far as Paris knowledge goes.
Yeah. Well, that's relevant. That what it is that the ChatGPT now can use Bing and do a Google search. Sorry, you can use Bing to do a Google search. No, Bing is not Google, Leo. Okay, fine.
What's the name of this podcast again?
Microsoft.
This Week in Bing?
Yeah, This Week in Bing. It's kind of like when Microsoft spent billions of dollars to get the NFL to use Surface tablets on the sideline and everywhere, and the announcers for a whole year kept calling them iPads. It's like that. It's like, all right. Well, anyway, you might guess it's better. I'm not.
So there's
convinced.
a video on line 67, which might amuse you. No, line 66.
Okay.
Which shows the capabilities. It was
This
brought
is
in
a cool demo.
Hassan from the Mastodon.
Oh, Mastodon. Okay. We've been this is. Should I turn on the audio? Is there audio?
Yeah. There's no music. You're safe.
We've been capturing footage to test on a wide range of challenges.
It's
so now it's using the multimodal feature, which is they're showing it images.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, not just
testing Gemini. Here we go. Tell me what you see.
I see you placing a piece of paper on the table. I see a squiggly line.
That's good.
What about now?
The contour lines are smooth and flowing, with no sharp angles or jagged edges.
I see a duck.
It looks like a bird to me.
What if I add this?
The bird is swimming in the water.
Wow.
It has a long neck
Oh,
and
that's
beak.
cool.
It
I have
is
to
a
tell
duck.
you,
Yes.
we're
a
getting.
duck is a type of waterfowl in the family Anatidae. Ducks are closely related to geese and swans.
it's like an obnoxious
The
kid
duck
in
appears
class
to be
now.
blue. This is not a
Okay,
common
shut
color
up.
for
Oh,
ducks.
shut up.
Oh,
Not at
However,
all.
there
No,
are
it says
some breeds
blue's
of
not a
blue
common
ducks.
color,
These are
but
typically not as common as other duck breeds. It is more common for ducks to be brown, black, or white.
Are you sure?
What the quack? I was just talking about a blue duck, and now you're holding one. It looks like blue ducks are more common than I
Do you
thought.
really believe it said
Would
that?
this float?
I'm not sure what material it's made of, but it looks like it might be rubber or plastic.
What if I tell you it's making a squeaking sound?
Oh, if it's squeaking, it's definitely going to float.
Nice.
I
It
am.
is a rubber duck. It is made of a material that is less dense than water.
Can you teach me how to say this in a different language? And give me a few options.
Wow, and then
Can you
it's
explain
Spanish,
how to
French,
pronounce the
Korean,
Mandarin one?
Japanese.
Is it Yatsu?
Yatsu.
Is pronounced with a first tone. In Mandarin, there are 4 tones, which are essential to distinguish the meaning of words. The first tone is a high-level tone.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yadza.
Yatsu.
The duck is
This
in the
is so
middle
cool.
of the ocean. There is no land nearby for the duck.
The
to rest or find food.
it's hard for people who are
It is
listening to
unlikely
get this,
find
but
ducks here naturally.
it is being given
Okay,
images
based on
and
what you
is
see,
absolutely
come up with
right
an
on in
idea.
describing them.
Oh, and use emojis, please.
How about this? We can play a game called Guess the Country.
Sure, let's do it.
Clue 1. This country is the home of the kangaroo, the koala, and
Well,
the
it's
great
Australia.
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, it knows he's
Those
pointing
watching
at it.
football,
He
and has
points
won the
to
most
Australia.
men's World Cups in football history.
Brazil? Look at that.
You are trying
Now
to
he's
get me
playing
to
the
find
cup
paper
game.
ball under the cup.
Oh my God,
I
it
accept
knows
the
that.
challenge.
Now, is this faked?
Okay, we've got to
Cup to
try
the
this.
Well, we can't yet because
We
this
can't, because we can't do the multimodal.
So is this guy from Google? Who is this guy? Oh, it is
I know
Google.
what
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing.
Google.
You're playing rock, paper, scissors.
What do you see now?
The fingers are spread out to look like the wings
I
of a
just got to
butterfly.
pause this for a second
What's this?
because we're
Big
getting
deal.
kind of inured to what AI can do. We're getting kind of used to it and taking it for granted. If we had looked at this 2 years ago, we would have said that's fake.
Yes.
I mean,
we
I'm
don't
currently sitting here being like, this is almost fake. That's how impressive it is. I'm sitting in stunned silence.
And it may be fake,
It's
but I don't think Google's going to
incredible.
fake it, right?
No, I mean, I don't think so either. I think that this is probably the best case scenarios, and they are asking very specific questions or setting it up in specific situations. But it's still incredible.
Struck me, though.
Okay, the what the quack was obviously like some flavor, but
pointing to Australia and that's multi.
Showing a rubber duck and having it guess that it's a rubber duck is really cool.
I don't know how you would distinguish that from AGI, to be honest.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh my God,
no.
we can't open this box again.
It knows a duck. I don't care how it knows a duck. It knows a duck. It can take over the world. Oh, come on, Leo. It's impressive as hell.
Well, wait a minute.
But it's not AGI.
AGI doesn't mean HAL 9000. It doesn't mean Forbin the Colossus Project. It means an artificial intelligence that is effectively as good as a human at doing things. This is better than a human.
Okay.
In many of those cases. That's very impressive.
The other week, when we were discussing AGI, a listener named Robert sent me this screenshot from ChatGPT that I'm now going to read. Robert asked ChatGPT, "Are you AGI?" And ChatGPT said, "No, I'm not an example of AGI. I'm a specific instance of narrow AI called GPT 3.5, blah, blah, blah. While I can generate human-like text responses and perform various language-related tasks, I lack the comprehensive understanding, autonomy, and versatility associated with AGI. AGI would possess general intelligence comparable to or exceeding human capabilities across diverse domains, which is beyond the scope of my current capabilities."
Do you not think that's just what we saw? I think that's exactly.
I don't think that this is comparable to or exceeding human capabilities. No, I think it's
impressive, but
it did a better job of what's under the cup than I could have done.
Oh no! So
I don't think that's
true. Gemini, the same question, Paris. Whether or not it hedges, whether or not I am an artificial general intelligence is a complex question that depends on how you define AGI. Good fate there, Gemini.
Let's watch a little bit more. Look, I'm not saying, oh, here come the machines, it's going to take over the world. But I am blown away. If this is, now it may be, did they say it's edited for speed? What do they say about this?
It's slower. Yeah, well, it is.
It has to be edited for speed.
For
There's
purposes
no
of this
delay.
demo, latency has been reduced and Gemini outputs have been shortened for brevity. It's already gassy, so yeah.
This video showcases some of our favorite interactions with Gemini.
So it's a button.
We're watching an edited clip, and that's fine.
Sweet.
Okay, he's got a quarter in 2 palms.
The coin should be under the right hand.
I don't know.
The coin is in the left hand, using a sleight of hand technique to make it appear as if the coin has disappeared. Both
now there's a coin and a cookie.
Round and flat.
There you go.
Now
Both
a coin,
food.
now a cookie and an orange.
Choice than the cookie.
Wow.
Citrus.
Now a
is
fidget
calming,
spinner.
and so can the spin of the fidget toy.
Wow.
They are both examples of popular toys that have been enjoyed by children and adults alike
A
for
Rubik's
many
Cube.
years.
A ball of yarn and a bigger ball of yarn that is
I see
green.
pink and green yarn. How about a dragon fruit?
Oh, wow.
Or how about a
And
green
now
cake?
it shows.
He said, what can I knit with this?
Okay, how about
Yeah.
these colors? And maybe show me some animals.
Okay.
Blue and
now I
pink.
see blue and pink yarn. How about a pig with blue ears? Or an octopus?
And it's showing the images, by
bunny
the way,
with a
the
pink
knit
nose.
images.
Ooh, I'll keep those in mind. Which way should the duck go?
Once-
Going left leads to a duck, which is a friend. Going right leads to a bear, which is a foe. It is better to make friends than foes. So the
This
duck
is
should
where
go left.
Leo is going to think, okay, we're doomed. It's going to take over everything.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm
This is a
saying
picture of a crab.
that this, to me, it certainly satisfies the Turing test. I would say it satisfies many tests for AGI.
We're talking about an edited video.
I know. It's a little
Nothing
bit-
is satisfying
deceiving.
any test
Yeah.
when we are seeing an edited promo
And
video.
the
I think
the
it's
100
very
things it
impressive
didn't
and
get.
cool.
Yeah.
The thousands of things it didn't get.
Yeah.
That these are the specific selections of the most impressive things it can do. That's cool, but
Which
it's
is
not
impressive.
AGI.
Again, 10th time, impressive.
I really liked that it said in one direction is a friend, on the other is a foe, because that's very dramatic. I like that a lot.
Now, Mark Rober, who is the wonderful NASA engineer who made the glitter bombs, right? and is now working at Google. So, maybe he's co-opted.
We're about to test the accuracy of this plane I built with Bard.
But he's pretty well trusted, right?
Ring of Fire.
I would trust him. So he's going to build this plane. He built a plane that got Bard.
It's a paper airplane.
Well, you make a paper airplane that can go through a ring of fire, okay?
I could do that.
Okay.
I want to know if the
Yeah. So now you're arguing that I could be as good as Bard, instead of Bard couldn't possibly be as good as me.
Science content. In short, could Bard create a better Mark Rober video than me, Mark Rober?
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm gonna ask Bard.
This must scare YouTube influencers something awful.
Who is the most
Okay,
handsome?
I don't think this does.
No, they paid Mark Rober to do this. Obviously.
Yeah, they
It's a
paid. This
big
is
ad.
sponsored content.
Yeah. It's a big ad. I don't know. I'm very impressed. I am. So there's lots of problems with all this AI stuff. One is that we'll emphasize the science. Oh gosh, did you read the New Yorker article yet? By the way.
No, I haven't.
OMG. Let me pull it up. It's by Charles Duhigg, and it's about what happened. I you know how as the OpenAI fracas was developing, we knew that someday somebody's going to write a book, right? This is amazing, and I would love to know what's going behind the scenes. Well, Charles has some good sources. Because
he was already embedded. He was already embedded for
For a while, yeah.
and then everything, scheduled story, everything.
So
And
he
then he
has,
got some
under the
juicy
annals of
stuff.
technology in the New Yorker, the inside story of Microsoft's partnership with OpenAI, which was really a lot about Kevin Scott, who's Microsoft's CTO in charge of AI. But the inside story, around 11:30 a.m. on the Friday before Thanksgiving, Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella was having his weekly meeting with senior leaders when a panicked colleague told him to pick up the phone. An executive from OpenAI was calling to explain that within the next 20 minutes, the company's board would announce that it had fired Sam Altman. It was the start of a 5-day crisis that some people at Microsoft began calling the turkey shoot cluster frack. And you can use a different word for frack if you so desire. It goes on to say, okay, so this was completely out of the blue for Microsoft, which had invested roughly $13 billion in this company. So they immediately, when Nadella recovered from his shock over Altman's firing, he called OpenAI board member Adam D'Angelo and pressed him for details. D'Angelo gave the same elliptical explanation that minutes later appeared in the press release, that Altman hadn't been consistently candid in his communications with the board. Nadella says, well, has he committed improprieties? No, but I won't say more, said D'Angelo. It seemed that he and his colleagues had deliberately left Nadella unaware of their intention to fire Altman because they hadn't wanted Nadella to warn him. Nadella hung up in frustration and called CTO Kevin Scott, the person most responsible for forging the OpenAI partnership. Scott had already heard the news, which was spreading fast. They set up a video call with other Microsoft executives who came up with 3 possible responses. They talk a little bit in here about how some of the board members, chiefly Ilya Sutskever, had been worried about the dangers of an unconstrained AI superintelligence. They also talked about the letter from Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak, that open letter which called for a pause training AI models. Kevin Scott said the discourse around AI has been strangely focused on science fiction scenarios, computers destroying humanity, and had largely ignored the technology's potential to level the playing field, as Scott put it, for people who knew what they wanted computers to do, but didn't have the training to make it happen. And this is, by the way, what a lot of what Microsoft is using ChatGPT for. They call it Copilot on Windows. He felt that AI, with its ability to converse with users in plain language, could be transformative, an equalizing force if built with enough caution and introduced with sufficient patience. So they didn't know what was going on. They were worried about it, and they decided that there were 3 different possible responses. Plan A, stabilize the situation by supporting the replacement CEO the board had named, Marathi, and then working with her to see if the startup's board might reverse its decision or at least give us an explanation. If that didn't work, plan B. By the way, Microsoft did that. They also did plan B, using their company's considerable leverage to help get Altman reappointed as CEO and to reconfigure the OpenAI governance, which, as we've talked about before, has a for-profit and a not-for-profit arm. From our perspective, someone close to the conversation told Duhigg, things have been working great and OpenAI's board had done something erratic. So we thought, let's put some adults in charge and get back to what we had. Plan C, hire Altman and his most talented engineers and rebuild OpenAI within Microsoft. That did not happen, as we all know.
Well, they tried to. They
were ready to.
2 hours.
Yeah, they were ready to.
They were ready.
Yep. So, I highly recommend that. There's also...
But there's also stuff in there, Leo, isn't there, about what Altman and the chip deal and some of the... gives us some more clues.
Yeah, there's more and more, and I've seen other stories about Altman being a little sneaky behind the scenes, doing stuff behind the scenes, and there were some accusations.
The current state of it is that some people have said that he was a little bit difficult to work with.
Yeah.
There have been some accusations of maybe backstabbing, your typical corporate stuff, but nothing particularly concrete in terms of this is the reason why he was fired or why the board sought to oust him. Which is, I think, incredibly interesting about this situation. It is so, especially in a news cycle as strange and tumultuous and frankly leaky as this, with people like Charles Duhigg and The Information and New York Times and all these other places having really in-depth reports, the fact that we still haven't gotten any real understanding of what led the board to oust him, I think is fascinating. And I'm not sure entirely what it means, but I know that it means something.
Yeah, and we should mention that Paris has done a lot of the original legwork on this for The Information.
Well, my team has.
You and your team,
but
yeah.
Yeah, I've been looking into, honestly, this question behind the scenes as well, and it's just very novel that information hasn't come out about this in this news cycle, because a lot of smart people, myself included, are looking into it.
I will stand by my assertion that I'm surprised that we know so much already. I mean, this is usually the kind of thing you find out a year later in a book or 10 years later in a book, right? You guys are doing great work.
It seems like a lot of the people, yes, certainly. My colleagues have been doing great work. Other journalists have been doing great work. But the tech world, especially smaller companies, not that OpenAI is, I guess, small by the numbers, they're leakier than your stodgy tech giants of yore, So it doesn't surprise me that especially given how tumultuous and strange the Altman ouster and reappointment process was, that a lot of things have leaked. The thing that surprises me is that the key bit of information hasn't leaked, which says to me that no one outside of the board has spoken about this.
Right.
Because, there have been a lot of reports that after the board originally ousted Altman, a lot of OpenAI executives were on a Zoom call with board members and a lawyer being like, guys, you got to tell us something, anything. Like, what were some of the reasons? And they wouldn't say a word. And the fact that nothing else has leaked out of what seems to be that small group of people is very novel about this. And I'm not sure if that means that it's, maybe they didn't have a reason, or that the reason is something that is incredibly closely guarded for some reason.
My favorite theory, the one I sent to you, Jeff, in an email, and you mocked me, is, because it is mockable, is that Ilya and his team had developed something called Q-Star, which was an AI that could do math from first principles, which, weirdly, I did not know this, but LLMs are not good at math. Actually, I did know it because Stephen Wolfram has said it. They're not good at math. They don't know, because they don't understand the principles. They don't understand anything. And so an LLM doesn't tell you what 2 + 2 is. But they had a new AI, Q-Star, that did know. And to me, that was fascinating. So there was a rumor going around, and Paris, I wonder what you've heard about this, that's what scared Ilya so much that he came over to the other side and went to the other board members, said, we got to do something. We are now skating on thin ice. This is getting too smart. Is that?
But Ilya's a doomer. I mean,
I know.
You're filled with doomers. The New York Times did a feature this week on the men behind AI. And number one, it was all men, not a single woman mentioned. Number two, they downplay the nuttiness of some of these folks.
Well, let me take a break because I want to go through this. By the way, another great long piece by Cade Metz and Mike Isaac and Karen Weiss and Nico Grant on this. And there is some really weird stuff in here. We'll get to that. I do want to take a break. But I'm just curious, Paris, what you heard or read about QStar, is that just a rumor, or do you think there's some legitimacy to that? Maybe that's the reason.
I mean, I think it probably played into it. I think if it was the reason, we would know more about it at this point because there's been some decent reporting on it. Yeah. I think that it certainly was something that had concerned or raised the hackles of Suitsgiver and some of the other, researchers, that this QStar could not only solve math problems, like basic math problems, but it could solve math problems that it hadn't seen before.
In other words, it knew math from first principles.
Yeah, it knew math and it was capable of learning,
Right.
And I think that there was some tension over kind of the pace of these developments, especially given how Altman had allegedly kind of responded to these sort of criticisms before.
So before you go to the break, do me a favor and go to Gemini, and ask this question. Are you good at math?
Okay.
All right. And then it could be lying.
Do we trust the answer?
Well, no, the answer is going to be saying what it can.
You think it's AGI, Leo, so isn't it?
Doesn't matter.
Trustworthy?
Well,
I love that she's
trustworthy.
Throwing your words back at
They're
me.
separate things. I don't think, in fact, that's what's scaring people.
Oh, so you think it's lying? You think that it has the ability to lie to you?
Well, that's what people are worried about, is that it would, if it were a benign.
It doesn't know truth, so it can't lie. It's predicting words.
I think it could hallucinate. I don't think it could
lie. That's even wrong.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I'm good at math in the same way that a human mathematician is. I don't have the same level. Oh, you know what? It can read it. Let's have it read it in its own creepy voice.
I wouldn't say I'm good at math in the same way that a human mathematician is. I don't have the same level of understanding or intuition for mathematical concepts. However, I am able to perform many mathematical tasks with a high degree of accuracy, including basic arithmetic operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, algebra, solving equations, factoring polynomials,
fantasizing,
or it's geometry,
so I'm
calculating areas,
crap at math.
volumes,
Can you
angles,
test it?
Calculus,
Can you give it a
differentiation,
John 2 + 2,
probability and statistics, calculating means.
Okay, that's a good question. Give me a chat room. Give me a or Discord. Give me a what would be, Paris, something it's not seen.
Oh, I'm the wrong person to ask.
Yeah.
When it comes to math, my brain is just a hollow vortex.
Okay, well, let's do 96.
I love Google Sheets.
Divided by 12. Let's just see what it does. That's 8, by the way. 8. Knew it. That's correct.
Yeah, okay. So that's, but
you know what would be great? And the thing would
test
scare me
calculus,
really considerably, and should scare everybody, is if I could ask it to factor a very large number into 2 primes. Give me prove Euler's equation. Okay, what is Euler's equation, Retcon? You got to tell me the equation, then I can ask it to. Okay, here's one. Ask for the diagonal. What's the diagonal length? And by the way, you better know the answer to this, because what's the diagonal length of a right triangle 5 by 12? I don't even know what the hell we're talking about.
Let's see. I don't know what half the things in this chat are. I know you can't divide by 0, but that's about it.
The diagonal length of a right triangle with legs of 5 and 12 is 13.
The answer is correct. That's the hypotenuse. Are you impressed there? I don't even know how to write Euler's identity.
I could do that in middle school, or maybe earlier. I don't know.
It's the third length. I understand. It's the square of the
It's the hypotenuse thing.
Square root of the sum. The sum of the. Anyway, square root of the sum of the squares.
Let's not try to do math
That
live.
thing we had to learn once and then never have to use. That thing. Now we have Gemini to do it for us.
Okay,
so
let's do this here. What is Euler's equation?
And can you solve it?
Yeah, solve it.
First, let's see if it even knows it. Oh, yeah, it does.
Of course, I have no idea what that means.
But see, this is the kind of thing an LLM could easily do.
Yeah, that could do.
This is regurgitating a math book. In fact, it provides Wikipedia.
Yeah, it's just it gave us.
Go back up. Go back up. Solve Euler's equation when
X equals.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
But the problem is, I don't know what the answer when
that's the problem here.
equals 10 and X equals 30. And if somebody at home would try this and tell us that's impressive. If it could do that.
You just plug stuff in. It's not impressive to plug things in if you're a computer. That's kind of your whole deal.
You know what? This is how it did this, by the way. It generated Python code, which is a very simple way of doing it. So that's actually the right way to do it. All right.
Once again, it's all wonderful and impressive. And the only problem here, and it's a tool that we can use in amazing ways, all that stipulated, Your Honor. But to go the next step, to say that this is as smart as a human, it's going to destroy mankind, that's all nutty jump stuff.
Totally agree.
You know,
2 against 1, Leo.
You know, actually, it strikes me that a good test would be to solve a long unsolved math problem, a proof that there's been quite a few of
and
these.
I don't know if it could do that if it's not solved, because it's advanced pattern recognition
Right, exactly.
and data retrieval. It's impressive, but it's not intelligence.
Right. So if it could solve an unsolved math proof, there's quite a few of them.
Let's I don't know about that, because like computers do math. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Calculators do math, yes.
Well, Dr. Do says have it do a confusing word problem. But the thing is, it's trained on all kinds of
SAT. It can do that kind of
prep
stuff. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. All right, anyway. I mean, we know it can play chess. We know it can play Go better than any human. So clearly that kind of calculated solution is not a good test. We've got to take a break. I want to come back.
Okay.
Let's do the New York Times story next, because if nothing else, it's just like fascinating to peek into the minds of these nut jobs, like Larry Page, founder of Google. But first, a word from our sponsor. It's nice to have you, Paris Martineau, Jeff Jarvis. It's good that Paris could get together with her granddads and do a show.
Listen, I've got to pay you guys visits because I know you've got one foot in the grave. I'm sorry.
So
was too a little.
Paris, no, that's fine. Paris showed that Thanksgiving card that you did, Joe Esposito, for us. We were there all at the table. And what did your friends say when they saw that, Paris?
My friend said, "Oh, is this your podcast with your dads?"
At least for your dads, not your granddads. I'm sure I'm actually your grandfather's age, really. But okay. How old's your grandfather?
A lot older than you.
Okay. That's
my parent. You think you're my parents' age, frankly.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your parents were very old.
Your father looked pretty spry with that turkey. I don't know.
Did we show that? Did you show that last week? Paris's dad with the turkey?
Do your commercial.
Yeah.
Do your commercial, Leo.
Yeah, do your commercial, and then we can come back
I might follow
and show them deep frying a turkey.
That was very impressive. That's all I have to say.
Do it every year.
He did not burn the house down.
It looked like it could have. It always looks like it's about to boil over, but it doesn't.
It was very impressive.
And that's the impressive part.
Our show today brought to you by our great friends at Bitwarden. This is the password manager you should be using. First of all, I think everyone should use a password manager, and I know many of you don't. You know better, but you don't. And then even if you do, I bet you there's members of your family who refuse or can't use a password manager. Tell them about Bitwarden. It's the only open source. You know how important I think it is that it's open source, right? Because then you know that the code's doing exactly what it says it does and nothing else. Cross-platform, that's of course important. It's got to work everywhere you are. iOS, Android, Windows, Mac, Linux too. There's even a command line version if you're that type. And it's the only one you can use at home and at the office. And has the great advantage of being free forever in the personal version. I've switched. Steve Gibson switched. With Bitwarden, all the data in your vault is end-to-end encrypted. Now, that you might say, well, of course, but no. That was one of the problems with LastPass. A lot of that data, like which sites you had passwords for, was in the clear, which made it easy for bad guys to say, whose vault should we work on? Oh, let's look on the one who has a Coinbase account, right? That's not good. It can't happen with Bitwarden. It's all an unreadable blob of encrypted data. Bitwarden also can help by creating unique usernames. This is really nice. Not only does it create unique, strong passwords you'd never remember, but you don't have to because Bitwarden remembers them. It'll do the same thing with the login, with an email. If you work with one of 5 different email providers, including our sponsor, Fastmail, that's really, really cool. It does support SSO. You can log into Bitwarden and decrypt your vault after using SSO on a registered, trusted device. That's nice because you don't need a master password anymore. And by the way, just not only is it open source on GitHub, but they have professional third-party audits every single year, and they publish the results on the website. That really gives you confidence. Honestly, these days, it's the only way to go. They have ways to share private data securely with fully customizable plans for personal or business. The personal plan, free forever with unlimited devices, unlimited passwords. It supports passkeys. It supports hardware keys. That's free forever. So if your uncle says, I am not going to use a password manager, I'm not paying $2 a month for a password manager. First of all, you can say, well, it's only $10 a year, uncle. And it's free if you want. Forever. The premium version, which I subscribe to, less than $1 a month. And for $3.33 a month, you can get up to 6 people on a family plan and get all the premium features, unlimited sharing, collections, the whole thing. For businesses, there's an enterprise plan that starts at $6 per user per month. There's a Teams starter plan that's $20 a month for 10 users, just a flat fee. Great value for small teams. Or pay $4 a month per user with teams of 11 or more. Bitwarden's going to be at the 4th Annual Open Source Security Summit, where businesses, open source enthusiasts, developers, and security thought leaders come together to explore how open source software leads to stronger cybersecurity. Big names will be there, including Brian Krebs from Krebs on Security, CEO of Social Proof Security, the great Rachel Toback, a white hat hacker. Oh, and speaking of AI, a generative AI expert and advisor, Zach Cass, will be there. Join the leaders in open source security. Register now for the Open Source Security Summit. That's December 7th. That's tomorrow. But you can do it online. OpenSourceSecuritySummit.com. OpenSourceSecuritySummit.com. Look, at Twit, we are big fans of password managers. Get started with a free Teams or Enterprise plan trial, or get started for free across all devices as an individual user at bitwarden.com/twit. Bitwarden.com/twit. This is the one I use and recommend, and I've been very, 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 very happy. These guys really do it right. Bitwarden.com/twit. So everywhere, long form stories about
honestly,
AI. Yeah.
I think honestly, I might switch to Bitwarden. I think that ad influenced me.
What are you using now?
I'm using LastPass.
Oh yeah, no.
I know is bad.
Oh,
I know. Listen, I know.
Well, and what you may not know is LastPass was studio sponsor and a big sponsor of the network for at least a year or two.
Didn't you used to have something like on your desk that said LastPass?
Yeah, we were big LastPass supporters. And then they got sold several times, mishandled their security, got a breach, and now we're learning that slowly people who had cryptocurrency and cryptocurrency passwords stored in LastPass are getting hacked one by one to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars. So we know that it's bad guys that got the LastPass vault and that they have been slowly going through it and hacking it. And that's terrifying.
Oof.
So have they fixed it? We don't know. LastPass's communications about this have been terrible. So I apologize to you and everybody who saw our ads and went to LastPass. In our defense, they were sold, and it's a different company, and in effect, and Yeah, I changed to Bitwarden pretty quick.
And I mean, I use Yubi keys for everything that I can, really.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm pretty secure.
Yeah,
but
that'll help you a lot.
change.
That'll help you a lot. Yeah, here it is. Here's my Yubi key. That's a physical hardware key that you use to unlock.
Yeah, mine
your
is on my
password
keys
manager.
somewhere.
So that'll help a lot. If you've been using Yubi key to unlock LastPass, the hackers aren't going to be able to break into it. So you're still safe. But
sources be very happy that Paris is a very responsible journalist.
Oh, you know what?
You see
that Signal phone number? She knows what she's doing.
That's why. That's what I was just going as a plug. If you if you've got a scoop, send it to this Signal phone number 267-797-8655.
Yeah, your SecOps is really
That's
good.
the one.
It is.
You know, honestly, the one thing I always tell sources is the most common way, not that any of my sources have ever been burned or outed, but I talk to a lot of friends in the industry, and the most common way I've ever heard is by a source using a work phone to communicate with a journalist. And it's like, there's nothing I can do to stop you from getting burnt from that.
No.
But I think that it's pretty good that that's the most common way I know of out there, because journalists typically have pretty good OPSEC.
Well, I'm glad that you and your ilk are doing such a good job.
I love my ilk.
By the way, if you do want to move to a Bitwarden, it's very easy to export LastPass and import it in Bitwarden.
I know, that's the thing, is I just need...
I know.
I've been truly meaning to do it for months, but it's just one of those things where you have a busy weekend after busy weekend. It's like, I got to take a couple of hours and export.
Yeah. No, I completely understand. Great piece in the New York Times. Mike Isaac, as usual, and Cade Metz. Karen Weiss, I don't know her, and Nico Grant did a good job. Ego, fear, and money. How the AI fuse was lit. The people who are most afraid of the risks of artificial intelligence decided they should be the ones to build it. Then distrust fueled a spiraling competition. And to me, the opening scene is so interesting and telling. Elon Musk celebrated his 44th birthday, July 2015. A 3-day party thrown by his wife in the wine country resort, which
not just a wife, not just any wife, but
Tallulah Riley,
was played the dangerous robot.
Yeah, in Westworld.
But keep going.
He married her twice. That's the weirdest thing. Married, divorced, married. So, but the other thing is, it doesn't say where. It says California wine country resort dotted with cabins. I think that's where Lisa and I got married, a place called Calistoga Ranch. It was all cabin focused, really nice, upscale place. I'm almost certain that's where this was. And by the way, the sad thing is it burned to the ground in one of the Napa fires.
You were going to go there, weren't you, right before the fire?
Lisa and I were going there, and they said it was a little smoky, and they said, yeah, maybe you don't want to check in right now. And as we're driving away, we got an evacuation alert. It said, get out, get out. It didn't burn down that year, but it burned down the following year. Anyway, sad. Oof. Beautiful place. It was family and friends only for Elon and his friends, children racing around the upscale property in Napa Valley. Larry Page, a party guest, still CEO at Google. Artificial intelligence had pierced the public consciousness only a few years before when it was used, get this is 10 years ago, to identify cats on YouTube with 16% accuracy. We've come a long way.
It's like I could do better with my eyes closed.
Yeah. AI was a big topic of conversation when Mr. Musk and Mr. Page sat down near a fire pit beside a swimming pool after dinner the first night. Lisa and I's wedding pictures were taken right there. That 3 months before this, by the way, in January 2015. The two billionaires, Page and Musk, have been friends for more than a decade. Mr. Musk sometimes joked he occasionally crashed on Mr. Page's sofa after a night of playing video games. You know,
by the way, you would think Mr. Page would have had guest rooms.
Yeah.
But keep going.
Yeah, I think Elon just, the ketamine wore off and he fell over is what happened.
Yeah, I think it's probably what.
Notably, Elon Musk recently tweeted that whenever he plays Grand Theft Auto, he gets turned off by the fact that you have to shoot cops. And he's like, I can't play this game. Sorry, just an aside on Elon Musk playing video games.
For growing up, Elon.
Yeah.
The tone that clear night soon turned contentious As this is Time magazine worthy prose, Jeff.
Yeah, it is. Well, they would have thrown a few more adjectives in, but yes.
Soon turned contentious as the two debated whether artificial intelligence would ultimately elevate humanity or destroy it. As the discussion stretched into the chilly hours, you can just see these guys haranguing each other endlessly around the fire pit while others gathered to listen to Page and Musk. Yeah, oh yeah. In fact, it even says that. Some of the more than 30 partygoers gathered closer to listen. Mr. Page, hampered for more than a decade by an unusual ailment in his vocal cords. Remember, he talks like this. Described his vision of a digital utopia in a whisper. Page said humans would eventually merge with artificially intelligent machines.
One singularity.
One day there would be many kinds of intelligence competing for resources, and the best will win. That's a chilling vision. If that happens, Musk said...
Don't forget, you and I wanted to go live on Google Island, so let's not be too judgmental.
These guys, they make a lot of money. They're normal people. Then they make a lot of money, and they're freaking nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
If that happens...
nuttier than him.
Oh, yeah. If that happens, Musk said, we're doomed. The machines will destroy humanity. With a rasp of frustration, Mr. Page insisted his utopia should be pursued. Finally, and this was the final straw, he called Mr. Musk a speciesist. Like a racist, but for species, a person who favors humans. A speciesist. It's a made-up word. Who favors...
Yeah, it is.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Just trying to make it clear for the listeners who aren't seeing the words.
Maybe Yuval Noah Harari uses this word, but very few others. A person who favors humans over the digital life forms of the future. In other words, he's like a racist who doesn't like humans, likes, artificial intelligence. That insult, Mr. Musk said later, was, quote, the last straw. Many in the crowd seemed gobsmacked, if amused, as they dispersed for the night. So, first of all, that my lasting impression of this is, what doofuses? I mean, come on, man. Don't you have anything better
This also
to do?
goes, pardon me, this goes right into Tescrial.
Oh, yeah.
Where they believe that we've got to, we have to support these future made-up life forms.
I'm having a little milk.
I'll drink to my own.
So it goes on and talks about... Go ahead.
This helps prove my theory, which is called CEO brainworms,
Yeah.
which is that most CEOs, and I'm sorry, founders of things, ultimately have brainworms, because when you are in a position of power for a long period of time, surrounded by people who are effectively yes men, your brain starts to rot and worms fill the vacuum.
Clearly, right?
Yep.
A few weeks later, Mr. Musk dined with Sam Altman, who was then running Y Combinator, and several researchers in a private room at a Rosewood Hotel in Menlo Park, California, a favored deal-making spot close to the venture capital offices of Sand Hill Road. That dinner in 2015 led to the creation of a startup called OpenAI later that year, backed by hundreds of millions of dollars from Mr. Musk and other founders. The lab promised to protect the world from Mr. Page's vision. So now you see that the two kind of schisms here. One is AI is a great thing, but you got to protect humanity. The other is, why protect humanity? That's AI should be allowed to be as great as it can be. And if
I just want to do a little atmospheric moment here for those.
I'm
who are
eating
listening.
my cookies.
You missed a dramatic pause. Sound like a dramatic pause. It was actually Leo sucking the best last bits of the chocolate off his thumb
so good.
for a sponsor's new cookies.
This is a new sponsor called Wild Greens. They send you the bread or the croissants. I can't wait to make these. Or in this case, the chocolate chip cookies, and you bake them. And they're dangerous.
Feeling a little left out, Jeff. We got to
I am
get
too.
some
I'm
cookies.
so sorry. Well, if they do become a sponsor, we will make sure you both get a box. So you can
Fantastic.
you can eat
I'll make them
cookies
during
with
a
us.
show.
Yeah.
Gotta
You
get
missed
that Foley.
out, Paris. What was that thing that made like pita breads? No, what did it make?
Oh, yeah, chapatis. The little chapati maker. There was a machine we had.
Yeah,
it's in Anthony's office. It's a machine that you put flour and water, and it makes Indian chapatis or,
Like naan?
Naan.
Yeah, and yeah.
I love that.
It's not the greatest. It was okay.
He was gonna mail them to us.
I did. I FedExed you one, didn't I?
I don't think you did. No.
You never got
Just
it?
imagining going up to your mailbox and opening and getting a flatbread.
I am so mad because Karsten came in here with a FedEx envelope and everything.
Yeah, it was a great gag, though.
Well, I thought he was going to. Here it is. This is the Roadie-matic, world's first automatic.
I'm sorry, I did it.
Roadie maker. We have it. If you want, I'll make some roadie for you.
Yeah, you got to FedEx him a hot roadie.
I was gonna. I thought, for all intents and purposes, I did. I guess Karsten just forgot.
Lisa might have stopped that package at the door.
You want to spend how much?
No, we're not FedEx.
To send a stale chapati to Jeff? No. Anyway, great article, and it really does establish the two different points of view of people who are afraid of AI but want to develop it in a safe manner. That was what OpenAI was supposed to be. And people like, Larry Page, who say, no, just let it go. That's the next species. It deserves to, have its head. So,
I still want them to do more reporting on, and we say it's again, get your glass ready, get it ready on TestGrail, because it's a, if you see people like Yudkowsky here, and all these folks are on the nuts scale out there on this philosophy.
Yeah.
Don't sue me.
No, you can say somebody's a nut. That's not libel. That's true.
Okay, you're going to indemnify me.
It's opinion.
That's opinion.
So
sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
That's right. I have I've had extensive counseling in this whole subject matter, and I can't call you an extortionist, but I can call you a nut job.
Well, let's just say the philosophies are nutty.
Is that Burke? Actually, Burke says he took the envelope from Karsten, opened it, and ate the roadie.
Oh, we found the thief.
Roadie thief.
Roadie thief.
Roadie rogue.
Burke.
Wow.
And Karsten got blamed all these years.
All these years. Poor Karsten's taking the heat. I'm going to have a cookie. By the way, Elon Musk and Sam Altman, not talking. Another person.
Really?
Not talking anymore.
After the whole split up at OpenAI, that might have driven a wedge.
Not
Who would have
talking.
guessed?
The other great part here is how Musk was speechless when he found out that his plans for Mars wouldn't work.
Altman's quoted in here saying, there is disagreement, mistrust, egos. The closer people are to being pointed in the same direction, the more contentious the disagreements are. You see this in sects and religious orders. There are bitter fights between the closest people. That's probably true. Anyway, good story. They're talking about the birth of DeepMind 5 years before the Napa Valley party. Demi Hasibi, who was a neuroscientist, who
was quoted all over Genesis today. He's made it's
his thing.
Sundar, it's his thing. Yeah.
I wonder how much Larry's involved in this. Probably not.
You're eating a cookie.
Okay. Stacy had her waffles. I got my cookies. Okay. I'm sorry. There's a plate of cookies right now.
I'm just imagining someone walking around listening to this show.
What's going on?
Just to be like, what's in his mouth?
I am told constantly, do not eat. I'm so sorry. 5 years. So sorry. And so Dennis Hasibi walked into a cocktail party in, get ready, Peter Thiel's San Francisco townhouse, realized he'd hit pay dirt. There in Thiel's living room, overlooking the city's Palace of Fine Arts and a swan pond. Again, meaningless detail, Time Magazine style, written into this article, was a chessboard. It turns out Hasibi had once been the second player in the world under 14. I can dig this because I was the state champion in Rhode Island of chess under 14.
Small state.
It's a small state, and I got to tell you,
famously,
the competition under 14 not that good. So anyway.
Nerds.
Yeah. But I literally was Rhode Island State champion at the under 14.
That is impressive.
No, it's not. Hasibi says, I was preparing for that meeting for a year. I thought it would be my unique hook in. I knew he loved chess. Peter, hi. In 2010, Hasibi and his two colleagues who lived in Britain wanted to build an artificial general intelligence. So anyway, it goes on. If you're interested, that New Yorker article and the Times article, both long form pieces are really, I think, good introductions to how we got to where we are today.
Right. We still need to get a little deeper into the nuttiness of what drives them.
That's, by the way, when they came up with DeepMind, and DeepMind was kind of based on, building games. First, they beat Space Invaders and Pong, and eventually it got very good at playing Go and beat some of the world's best players at Go. Geoffrey Hinton's in this. Everybody's in this. It's a really good primer on
Jan LeCun is in this.
Who the personalities are. I am, as you know, I'm pretty skeptical on AI, but I've become more bullish. I think I'm very interested.
I was about to say, you've become a lot less skeptical on AI over the course of this show.
No, it's actually been over the course of the last 6 weeks. As I see, look at the video. That's mind-boggling. We shouldn't take it for granted, even though I know it's edited and all that stuff. We shouldn't take it for granted. All right.
We think things we can't explain are accidents or miracles. They're just things that happen that we can't figure out.
Nothing is meaningful.
It's interesting you should say this.
Sartre. We have Sartre on the show.
It's really interesting you should say this because, I just did this retreat, and one of the messages I got from my spirit was everything my spirit. You ask for messages every morning from your spirit and your spirit guide. And one of the messages I got was, get this, everything means something and nothing means anything.
Continue.
If you can hold that paradox in your mind, it's kind of interesting because nothing is meaningful. It's all what it is. It's just what it is.
Okay, hold on a second. What does this mean?
What are you talking to the chat?
Oh, are you talking to Bard? Okay, ask Bard.
Give that to me again.
While I'm saying
again, Leo.
Everything means something, and nothing means anything. If it says that's just nonsense. You must have taken the Hoffman process because that's nonsense.
It is a paradox.
It is a paradox.
It's a paradox, meaning it appears to contradict itself. Here are some possible interpretations of its meaning.
Oh, I'm curious.
It has to go through.
I had a similar breakthrough, not from a spirit, but it was, that everything is meaningless, and thus the only meaning is from what you just derive.
That's
from
kind
everything.
of the point. That's right.
And that's fun.
And I grew up in a very rationalist environment. My dad's a paleontologist. He was a lapsed Catholic, so he was a kind of a devout atheist. I asked my mom the other day, she's 90, she's on her last legs. I said, do you think there's a heaven? Is there an afterlife? She said, no, we're just animals. You die and that's it. And so that's very much what I grew up in, which is essentially nothing means anything. It's just is what it is. This Sartre, it is what it is. But that's a very important insight, Paris, that you can ascribe meaning to it. You can ascribe values to it. And that's what comes from your heart. That's what comes from you. And that, I think, is important. It shouldn't ignore that. And I ignored it for years.
So Gemini says that there are 4 possible interpretations. It explores the subjective nature of meaning. Mm-hmm. It highlights the insignificance of individual existence. It encourages individual meaning making, and it expresses a nihilistic view, which we got to Paris.
Hey, baby, there we go.
Are you a nihilist? Paris?
Yeah, but in like a fun way.
A fun nihilist.
A fun nihilist.
All right, there's our show title for sure.
Yeah.
Let's take a little break. We actually have some other stuff. I want to talk about, there's a new app that just came out called Beeper Mini that reverse engineers Apple messages and puts on your Android phone something that from Apple's point of view is Apple messages. Very interesting.
Is this the one that just uses a bunch of Mac minis?
No, there's a much more interesting story behind this. It's
Which we'll hear after this commercial.
Yeah, but after this commercial, ladies and gentlemen.
I have to listen to the whole commercial.
No, you don't. You can go install Bitwarden right now while I'm doing this. Remember, Paris, nothing means anything. And
It's true.
everything
You
means
know?
something.
Oh, I've got a good pick for this week that I'm going to add in right now.
Okay. A little Jean-Paul Sartre, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Yeah.
This episode of Twig is, or this week in general, or I wish, this week in Sartre is brought to you
Big
by...
Tech Weekly? Who's to say?
Who's to say? No one knows. Is brought to you by Collide with a K. It's a device trust solution for companies that are using Okta. Okta is great in that it ensures that whoever is using your devices is who they say they are. It's authentication. But how do you know that person's device is secure? That's what Collide does. It ensures for companies with Okta that if a device is not trusted and secure, it can't log into your cloud apps. This is a huge, important message for you if you work in security or IT and your company uses Okta. In the past few years, the majority of data breaches and hacks you read about all have one thing in common: the employees. Sometimes an employee's device gets hacked because of unpatched software. That's what happened at LastPass, right? It was a sysops guy, DevOps guy, who logged into the server. He was who he said he was. He was authenticated, but the protection software didn't note that he was running a machine that was on a network with an unpatched version of what was it? Was it Plex? I can't remember what it was. It hadn't been patched. It was Plex. And it had a huge hole. And so the bad guy was sitting in their network. As soon as the DevOps guy got in, so did the bad guy. It's important that you make sure your employees are secure when they log in. It's important, for instance, employees don't leave sensitive data in an insecure place. It's important that they don't use credentials, or that if their credentials are phished, that the hacker can't use those phished credentials to log in. The problem, though, and I don't want to blame employees, it's not the end users, it's the solutions you're using to prevent those breaches. And it doesn't have to be that way. Imagine a world where only secure devices can access your cloud apps. In this world, phished credentials, useless. And you can manage every OS, Linux, Mac, Windows, doesn't matter, all from a single dashboard. And here's a really nice kind of cherry on the top. You can get employees to fix their own device security issues without creating more work for your IT team. Look, you don't have to imagine this world. You can just start using Collide. Kolide, collide.com/twig. It's really the second half of this authentication puzzle. Book an on-demand demo today. See how it works for yourself. Collide, kolide.com/twig. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. This Week in Google. Beeper. It's called Beeper Mini. So, yes, the thing you were thinking of, Paris, Beeper came out a few months ago. I signed up, and they were basically putting Mac Minis in their network operations center. And so when you got an account with Beeper, and it was kind of expensive, you would be basically logging into that Mac Mini, and it would get your messages, send them on to Apple's messages, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. This is an interest. So the same company, a 16-year-old high school kid came to them and said, "Hi, I have." He didn't sound like that. He
could be the next Sam Altman. So
he
watch
probably
out.
is. I'm going to be nice to him. Yeah. I have figured out, he says, a way. I've reverse engineered Apple's authentication protocols, and I know how you can put an app on your Android device that will log in to Apple's servers. Apple will think you're on an iPhone and you're using your Apple credentials, and then you will be a blue bubble. You won't even be a green bubble. You will have all the features of Apple's messages, including being a blue bubble, on an Android device. So it's a little wonky, I got to say. Took me a little while to get signed in. But I did, and I've been using this.
Did you have to use an Apple ID?
Yeah, but I have one, right? Because you almost.
All right, text me right now through it. Text my Signal number. It's on my iPhone.
Okay, so it will look like a blue bubble, right? You're on an iPhone, okay? No, but it's going to be through Signal, right? So then,
No, it's that number also works phone wise.
okay. So show me her number so I can.
267-797-8655.
Okay.
People, don't go calling Paris now. She's on a show.
Don't go calling me unless you have real tips.
I got a tip for you.
Aw, you misspelled tip.
Oh,
It is blue. That's so fun.
it's just like I'm on an iPhone. I just sent that from my Pixel.
Wow.
Okay, so there's a number of issues that came up. We talked about this on MacBreak Weekly. I do want to tell people, though, who use Android devices, it's worth a try. Now, 7 days free, $2 a month after that. So, and
Not too bad.
I wouldn't sign up for a year plan.
No, because Apple's going to be onto this.
Well, that's the thing. So we talked a lot about this on MacBreak Weekly. The folks at Beeper Mini, by the way, beeper.com, say Apple can't fix this without breaking their authentication for everybody who uses an iPhone. So that's kind of interesting, right? And it may be true and it may not. I don't know enough about the protocol. It may be, for instance, that a packet is sent that says this is really an iPhone. See? Oh, by the way, when you send pictures like that, Paris, I get full quality just like I would if I were on an iPhone. And I will send.
Fun.
Yeah, this is for all.
Are you
intent.
receiving that in the Beeper Mini app, or are you
Yes.
receiving that as a text?
No, it's a Beeper.
And it's showing up in my phone just like a normal iMessage
Let me
text.
send you a picture. Let's see. How can I do that? Oh yeah, here we go. I will send you a picture, an image. I don't know what I'm sending you. I should probably look at it first. Oh, isn't that nice? Okay. This is a
Picture of his spirit.
of my spirit guide, Planty McPlantface. And
Very fun.
it's full quality, right? So because this app is logged in as an iPhone. In fact, when I set it up, I got messages on all my Apple devices saying another iPhone. Yeah, that's full quality.
Oh.
Another
Oh, so let
iPhone
me-
has been added to your account. And
This should make Apple just say, okay, never mind, fine. We're going to get rid of the stupidity.
well, this is so.
I mean, they were already doing it, right?
so here's
Not fully. You don't get all
the rumor was that they, because
You're
of
still
the
a different
DMA,
color.
the Digital Markets Act in the Europe, that Apple was going to somehow do some interoperability. They did say yes to RCS, and maybe that's all they plan to do. This is much worse. This is basically putting messages, Apple's iMessage, on an Android device. That's for all intents and purposes equivalent.
And
the
to
teens
answer a
who-
question that the Discord chat had, I can edit messages to and from Leo's fake iPhone,
And
which
let-
is an iMessage only
Right.
thing.
And I just sent you a reaction to your picture, and instead of doing the Android thing, which is repeating the picture and saying Leo liked it, it just did it just like an iPhone does. It
So
had
who's
heart.
this kid? Who's the kid? We got to give the kid credit.
I don't know his name. He's I think they haven't said his name. He's some 16-year-old. Reverse engineered. Now, so this is what Jason Snell said yesterday on MacBreak Weekly. There is a carve out in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. You know, normally it prevents you from reverse engineering stuff, but in this particular case, that's legal. He says in the DMCA, and I believe him. Jason's an expert on this stuff. So it's legal. So Apple can't stop them on legal grounds. They can't sue them. Apple may have a way technically to stop them on the authentication server. It's their contention that to do so would break everybody else, so they're not going to do that. I think there's another thing that Apple's probably considering. If we do come down hard on this, that just proves we're a monopoly. That just proves that everything they've been saying about us.
And we're jerks.
We're jerks. So and I think what Apple's going to look at very carefully, if they can, maybe they just look at the Play Store downloads, is how many people is this costing us a lot of money? Apple hates it when other people make money on their technology, so they hate it that it's $2 a month. But is it really costing us anything? And if they decide, 10,000 people are using it, and it would really risk our relations with the EU if we were to squash it, they may just let it go. It's a very interesting thing, and I want you to know, if you're an Android user, you can be a blue bubble, and it works.
Well, for the kids for the poor kids who get forced to buy Android phones, not iPhones,
Right.
This
It's
is
huge.
salvation.
It is end-to-end encrypted. That you're not going to a server. There's no middleman. It's just like Apple's messages. Apple thinks this is an iPhone. That's the main point. So, yes, it is going through Apple's servers, but it's not going through anybody else's servers. I think it's a very interesting story.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
That is very interesting.
Yeah. It took me a little while to install it. I had done a couple of things. For instance, on my Google account, I was hoping to turn, those pop-ups you get everywhere from Google saying, you can sign up with Google over here. Every time I go to Notion.
I don't, because I live in an iPhone life, but that sounds quite annoying.
No, it happens on your browser. Here it is. I'm on Notion, right? And you get this, sign in with Google. Use your Google account. You could use your Google account.
That does suck.
Drives me nuts. So there is a setting under the Google security settings that says, don't let third-party apps sign in, which breaks this pop-up but doesn't stop it. So it's like, I still get the pop-up. So I had to turn that off for this to work, because the first thing you do when you get Beeper Mini is you sign into your Google account. Then you also register the phone number of your Pixel phone. So in effect, you're adding a new iPhone to your Apple account with your Pixel phone's number. That did not work. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. I still was able to use it. But when I send you a text, Paris, you're seeing it as my Apple phone number, not my Google phone number. You're seeing a 707 number. So, right?
So it's a different phone number.
It's my iPhone number.
So you have two different phone numbers.
So, no, it's my iPhone number. I would like it to be my Pixel number so that I don't know. Does it matter? I guess it doesn't matter. It's my Apple.
Well, wait. Can you use this to text anybody on any phone?
Yeah, Jeff. Shall I text you? I have your.
Sure.
I think I have your phone number. Let me try.
I think you do. Yes.
Yeah. It picks up my contacts. Jeffrey Jarvis. What is it? Jeffrey Allen Jarvis?
Alan Jarvis.
Jeffrey Allen Jarvis. I'm going to send you a text. Sorry.
See, guys,
wait a minute.
This is why you've got to subscribe to
this is bad. Sorry, Jeff Jarvis can't be reached on iMessage. Let me try.
Oh, because it's iMessage.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah, this is.
Oh, I can't text you because you're in an Android.
An Android. That's
That's a flaw.
Because you were signed in, right? You thought it's meant to sign to Apple phones.
Oh, very interesting.
That's a problem. So it doesn't replace your texting. You've got to know whether somebody's on an Apple. Well, it's a way for you to say Apple, but not much more.
That is a good point, because I cannot, you can do this with Signal as you have, Paris. You can make it your default. Well, actually, you don't have an Android phone, but if you did, you can make it your default messaging app. I could do that with Signal on Android. I can do that with a number of other programs. I cannot do it with Beeper Mini. Now, according to Scooter X, Beeper Mini says it will add SMS and RCS and FaceTime in the future. As long as Apple doesn't kill us, we're going to do it.
So basically, I can use this to tell stop making fun of me for the color of my bubbles.
They'd never know that you weren't on an iPhone. I've been texting with Micah on his iPhone from my Android phone, and he says it's exactly. In fact, I've been going back and forth between Android, Macintosh. He says it's all the same. There's no way to tell the difference.
But again, his texts back to you are coming in through Beeper Mini, not through your texting, not through your.
Yeah, it's
because they're iMessages, not texts.
Yes, it's not SMS. And that's why I can't text you, Jeff. Apple Messages falls back to that old-fashioned SMS technology when it's talking to an Android device. That's the green bubble. So if they add SMS, I bet you that you'd be a green bubble still to me, even though I'm on an Android, right, which is hysterical. But at least I'd be able to communicate you. Same thing if it uses RCS. All of this, it says Signal will also be implemented.
That's fun.
Using Matrix. So this is their roadmap anyway.
Is there a business here, or they're just having fun sticking it to Apple?
$2 a month.
Which is fine.
That's a business, right? If a lot of people use it. According to their blog, okay, now I was also a Beeper member. In fact, I believe if you had a Beeper account paid in full, lifetime account, you would get Beeper Mini as well. You would have the lifetime on Beeper Mini. I think that's how they described it. Everything changed in August when a security researcher reverse engineered the iMessage protocol. He published PyPush, a proof of concept Python library that enables any type of computer to send or receive end-to-end encrypted messages over the iMessage protocol. This had never been done before. It was a groundbreaking, gigantic achievement of genius and hard work. We immediately began to work with him, this is from their blog post, to integrate his research into Beeper Mini and eliminate the need for Mac relay servers. And the roadmap, it's kind of amazing, and says that they're working on import past chat history. It's doing that now. Full text search, block list, chat history, backup, and export. It does do that, and it does it securely. It does it in end-to-end encrypted. Android OS chat bubbles. That would be nice. Foldable tablet UI, FaceTime audio and video calls, scheduled messages, SMS, WhatsApp, Signal, Matrix support, desktop and iOS apps.
What would be the great FU is if Google bought them and integrated this.
Oh, that would be. Oh, wow.
Android. Wouldn't that be beautiful?
Oh, wow.
Just as the FU to Apple. Okay, fine.
Okay, you won't do it. We will.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious what Apple's response will be to this. They haven't, as far as I know, said anything yet. Very interesting. But hey, if you're on an Android device, this works pretty well. Speaking of pixels, we are in our December pixel drop. I suppose this should be a change log. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna
mush it together.
Mush it all together.
You're back from the mountaintop. You can break your old habits, break your old ways.
All these artificial distinctions are just no longer necessary. All stories are one.
It's, you know what? It's meaningless, Leo. Like life, Paris says, it's meaningless.
It's meaningless. The change log is just a figment of our imagination. All change is happening simultaneously around us.
How did you know all that? You don't even need to go. You're enlightened. You're an enlightened being.
It's true.
That's because she's bad at math.
I'm bad at math. All the space that math would have occupied, I've just got enlightenment in there.
So
I got to ask you something, Paris. Do the kids these days, when you were the young philosopher, high school age, did you read Siddhartha too, or was that just my generation?
Yeah, I think I did, like freshman year of college.
Yeah, that'd be that.
Yeah, I read it in high school. It's the story. It's the story of the Buddha, but in Hermann Hesse's kind of modern telling. I loved it so much. I read all of Hermann Hesse's books. I loved them.
Well, same here. Yeah. Oh yeah, we were the same kind of obnoxious nerds. Yeah.
As Hesse once said. And then
I was a philosophy major for a while.
Yeah, and then I read The Magic Mountain. I mean, I kind of got into a weird German existentialist phase.
Yeah, I got really into Heidegger.
Look at you.
You know.
Wow.
I'm right now rereading all of David Foster Wallace's works in a real revisit of my college era.
So I'll give you a little tip. I had to open I have a free Spotify account with just obnoxious ads, but I was curious because they said they're going to do audiobooks. They have like all of David Foster Wallace's stuff in audio on Spotify.
Oh, that's fun.
Does it make any sense in audio?
I mean, do they do the end notes in audio?
Oh, I doubt that.
Because the end notes are a big part.
It would be nice
end notes are sometimes a whole chapter.
Integrated them into, like, so you don't have to flip to the end, right? So that just, let me see. We could listen. Why don't we listen to...
Oh, God. Oh.
Okay, we
No.
This podcast is going to be forcibly removed from the internet if we play a David Foster Wallace audiobook on the air.
Allow Spotify to track you across all apps. It's better for advertising. Oh, yeah, sure. Why not? Why not? Well, now I can't see. Audiobooks for you. Yeah, it's changed. So it was, for some reason, I had like the complete, now it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, so I don't forget it.
I saw Joe Rogan on there too.
Yeah.
Plus, it's ridiculous. Spotify says you get a certain number of hours a month.
15 a month. But they're free.
Less than a whole book. But less than a book.
Well,
all right, guys, I'm going to rein this show back in. We're going to go to 86 on the rundown.
No.
Spotify canceled 2 acclaimed podcasts, Heavyweight and Stolen, this week, as well as laid off 17% of staff, 1,500 people. I mean, this isn't this isn't entirely surprising. It's not their first layoffs this year, and these are only the latest award-winning podcasts that they've canceled. But it's quite sad.
Well, it's just like how the New York Times. The New York Times made fun of blogs and then decided they were going to blog, and then they ruined it for all the bloggers. And then they got tired of it and they got out of blogs. Spotify's done the exact same thing with podcasts.
You think it's them that's screwed us over? I don't think so. Maybe.
I mean, I think Spotify thought that they could buy the podcasting market.
Yeah, they tried.
I don't think that's speculation. I think that was their strategy, and it didn't work.
I admit a little
advertisers
schadenfreude.
Thought they had to be that big.
I admit a little schadenfreude because, I'm glad they failed. They didn't buy us. I would have been much happier had they bought us, but they didn't.
And then the check
Last
cleared,
week, Leo, we were trying to think of what would be the funniest thing to have a plane fly over your retreat with a sign that said, and we thought it could have been Spotify is trying to buy Twit.
Oh,
but you have to call. But you have to call.
You have to call before the week is up.
That would have been very mean. Anyway, on the one hand, I'm, kind of some joyful glee in the failure of Spotify's podcast efforts. But on the other hand, they've ruined the market for everybody else. And one of the reasons we're struggling deeply is because advertisers have decided they want that tracking. And they can get it from Spotify. They can also, we're on Spotify, but we're not exclusive to Spotify. But they've also decided they can get it from Google and Facebook and YouTube. And I honestly think it's not really so much Spotify, because look how Spotify's struggling too. It's YouTube. I look at what my son Henry, who is an influencer now, is drawing in ad revenue. I mean, it dwarfs what we can charge. Because he's an influencer, and that's the hot thing, right? Is he more effective than our ads? I don't think so. He's getting an ungodly amount of money from Cheetos. Friday at 1 p.m. on Amazon, he's going to do an hour stream cooking with Cheetos because he's an internet chef. He's a TikTok chef. So Cheetos sent him. I told you this before the show, but I'll tell the folks who are listening to the show. I went over to help him with the technical stuff. There's piles of Amazon boxes. What's this? He said, I don't know. I didn't order it. So we open a box, and it's a entire set of Rachel Ray cookware in Cheeto orange, which I guess he's supposed to use. And then there's another box. What's in there? I don't know. And it's a KitchenAid mixer. And he said, oh, shoot, I told him I needed one yesterday. I guess I'm going to get two.
Those are expensive.
And he says, I don't care. He says, they don't care. They don't want anything back. He's going to stream for an hour. He's going to cook with Cheetos. I'm sure they'll make it into TikToks and they'll do other stuff with it. But this is what agencies, especially, but also ad.
But
buyers.
They also want God bless Hank. I hope he stays as hot as forever. But I remember a friend of mine who I worked with, who was a creative director at Condé Nast, said you never want to be the face of the moment.
Oh no, I agree. Or I would extend that, and Hank knows this. If you are the face of the moment, capitalize on it.
Oh yeah.
So he's created the Salt Lovers Club, saltloversclub.com. He's created a line of salt seasonings. So, which by the way,
the merch is incredible.
He started
we were talking
these
about this before the show.
He started these. This went live on December 1st. What is this? The 6th?
What? And it's already sold out.
Sold out. By the way, I'm sorry he sold out. That's pretty good, because that was pretty good. There's only 5
garlic.
There's only 5 left, and I bought 10 of these black truffle salts. They're more expensive because truffles are so expensive. So I haven't sold as many of these. I still have like 90 units. So I bought 10, but because it's the best thing on popcorn ever. But I was going to give you guys, and I apologize, this was going to be our Christmas gift, the works.
Devastating.
All of them, and they're sold out. So I asked him, he said, I guess I'll get them back in stock in the spring. I said, you guys are going to get your Christmas present in March. So I'm sorry, I apologize. And the apparel, you said you like, see this, I didn't get this because I'm not a.
No, the apparel it's fire.
I'm not a Ute. I don't know why anybody would want.
I'm a Ute, and it's quite good. This is a shirt that says, I effing love salami, but it says the word because
it's
unlike Leo, his son is unconstrained by
Jammer B.
He uses the F word
by Jammer B.
a lot. And by the way, you like the copy. Salami is my favorite food. And I think this shirt pays homage to that in a subtle, tasteful way.
Really good.
He's not
really
kidding.
Good.
For Christmas every year from the time he was about 6 to 15, he would get a whole salami in his Christmas stocking. That's what he wanted. And he would often eat it in the one.
With a knife or just biting it off at his.
He loves salami. He's not kidding you. I did buy the pigment black cast iron hoodie, which says, "Does your dad know you put his cast iron in the dishwasher?" And I think that comes from his youth. I do. And it's good quality stuff. If you're looking for a Christmas gift, he's got a flaky salt shirt. He's got one that says...
The flaky salt shirt is great. I'm going to get that.
Isn't that nice? He's got one that says, "Does your mom know you don't baste your steaks?" Anyway, he's a funny boy. But you're right, Jeff. I mean, the key is take that brand recognition, be the flavor of the month. He's got a cookbook. He's doing all this stuff. But then capitalize on it as quick as you can. He's going to be on Gordon Ramsay's new show, Idiot Sandwich, in the next few weeks.
Well, why don't we play, in fact, the duet from TikTok, which is on the rundown. I put it.
Oh, did you?
Of course, in TikTok Corner. Of course,
I feel like this is a little
line 92.
I think this is a little bit self-serving, but please forgive me.
It's okay.
I'm a doting father.
We're telling you to do it.
I am a doting father. Oh, I have to put the puzzle.
Line 92 is wonderful.
I got to put the puzzle piece on the puzzle piece. Then I got to do the audio.
You have to prove you're not a bot.
I know, it's ridiculous. Okay, we're going to start over. This is Gordon
you got to start again because he says
it's a duet with Gordon. It's a duet with Gordon Ramsay.
Now you got to start it again so you can hear it.
Shh.
The sandwich looks so good.
Hank, my man.
Salt Hank, my man.
That looks good. Don't tell me. Come on. Is this the first of many?
That's so good. Ellen's for you, Gordo.
Thank you, my man. Okay, so this is going to be a Wellington sandwich. Nice combination of the veg. Great idea, by the way. Okay, good. Drain that off. Reduce that down. Sear the beef. Salt. There's a lot of salt on there, man. However, good sear. Base is beautiful. Before you slice it, goes in the oven. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, now garnish. Crispy prosciutto. Wonderful. Dude, this is looking good. Chestnut mushrooms. Diced up. Yes, my man. A welly sandwich.
Yeah. So Gordon Ramsay loves my boy. He went to Vegas a couple of weeks ago, right before the F1 race, actually, to tape Idiot Sandwich. It's I don't know when the episode will be on, but he's on it, and I guess he and Gordon got along pretty well. So,
okay, I do have a question, I guess, for both of you on what we were talking about before with regards to advertising dropping out from the podcasting market. I'm curious. I mean, I feel like you touch on this a bit in your book, Jeff, about magazines. A similar trend, I feel like, has happened with the media industry time and time again over the last couple of decades, where you find some hot new thing, be it magazines or websites or TikTok videos or YouTube, advertisers descend on it, think it's the hot new thing they want to pour money into, and then something happens. In many cases, it ends up being that they get more and more tracking on it, then realize people aren't really doing much when they see their ads. They move to the next hot thing until the cycle repeats again. I mean, is that a fair assessment of what's happening?
The other thing is, Paris, advertisers always want the new thing.
Yeah.
So when I was starting the websites for advanced publications, NJ.com and so on, it would drive me nuts. The ad salespeople would come in and say, well, we have to create a new unit for this advertiser. They want the special unit. I said, but we already have tons of it. No, we have to create the big ass ad for them because otherwise they're not going to buy. And so that's how the site got cluttered with 40 different kinds of ad units because the advertisers always wanted the thing that was special and new. And the salespeople always play to that, understandably. And they do that with genre as well. And so I think what I learned about magazines and covering magazines in my book called simply Magazine. Thank you for
It's a great book. It's very portable.
Thank you. It is. It's very, very, yes, it's purse sized. That's another story, by the way, is that they wanted to start, Time Inc. wanted to start a magazine named Women. They wanted to make it purse sized. What the hell is that? Anyway, magazines themselves went through that kind of cycle where it had a certain meaning in society, and then that faded off. So it's not just the advertisers; it's also the culture. I think the culture moves beyond and moves to the next hot thing. It happens symbiotically.
That's why I had a child, so that Henry could take over when podcasting died. I'd still have some skin in the game. No, actually, I wish I'd read your book 10 years ago, because podcasting is really in that phase right now. I mean, that's the Spotify layoff. Those two shows were Gimlet shows. Gimlet has essentially shut down. That was one of the big podcast networks 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
Bought for a fortune.
Yeah. So I guess this would be a good time for me to mention that we're having the same issues. The last numbers Lisa showed me were that we would lose $1.1 million next year. Now, I don't have, I mean, I guess I could kick in a couple of 100,000, but I don't really have $1 million, and we don't have investors. So the only way we can respond to that is with some cuts. There's two ways. One is to cut costs, which we're going to do, but I think also we can't increase advertising. We've tried. In fact, we've had to cut advertising prices, is to improve the membership in the club. I'm thrilled, more than 8,000 members, but that's still only a fraction of the 700,000 individuals who listen every month to one of our shows. And if we could just get a few more of you, it would make all the difference. It would help make up this $1.1 million loss. If we don't make it up, we will turn off the lights and go home. We have to. There's no other choice. I can't make our wonderful, wonderful staff work for free. They have to get paid. I don't have to get paid. And frankly, Lisa and I have many months this year not been paid, but that's okay. But they have to be paid.
No, it's not. But
well, it's not ideal.
But I'll say this again, folks. Public radio does 6 to 12% of those who listen give so that it can be free for all. That's the generosity that makes public radio work in this country. And 10% of 700,000 would be 70,000 people paying. Leo, would that do it if you had 70,000 club members?
We would add shows. We would grow. We would hire more people. That would be enough for us to grow, is 10%. I would be happy. 5% would be enough for us to survive. We don't now have 2%. So please, if you're not yet a member, it's $7 a month. Look, I don't expect everybody to pay. We hear from people say, I can't afford it. What can I do? And I say, that's fine. We don't need your money. Just with public radio, we just need a percentage of people who can't afford $7 a month, $84 a year to kick in. You'll get ad-free versions of all of our shows. You get access to our Discord. You get special programming and content we don't put out in public. So we try to give you some benefits, some value for your dollars, and you really help us stay alive. And that's I hate to do this. I hate to do this. We didn't have a club for a long time because I didn't want to have to beg. But I'm glad we do.
I will say also, if you were in Club Twit, you would have heard our great behind-the-scenes chat before we started the show, where we learned about all of our childhood nicknames.
Oh, that's a good point.
That's exclusive
Thank you, Paris.
content you're only going to get if you're in the club.
That's exactly right. Thank you, Paris. So anyway, twit.tv/clubtwit. I don't want to be, we're not going to do pledge night. we're not going to offer you a tote bag. And maybe that's why
I don't know. I'd like a tote bag with your face on it. That'd be pretty fun.
I would, if we could work out a deal with Salt
Make
Hank
a tote bag.
To have some Salt Lover Club merch,
get
I would.
Joe Esposito out there to make our tote bag.
Tote bag. Joe, what would a Twit tote bag look like? Anyway, thank you for all of our members. We have wonderful members. I love the group that we have. I love our community. I love doing this. I want to keep doing it. I love the people we work with, like Paris and what's his name over here? But
someone else. I think there might be someone else. I'm not sure.
Jeffrey Allen Jarvis. But we can't do it, frankly. Unless we somehow goose the revenue, because we can't lose $1 million. I just can't do it. So we'll figure it out. But your help would really be appreciated. Thank you. So what I was about to talk about, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do an ad. Then I'll talk about what I was going to talk about, because we were talking about Gemini. Gemini's coming to your Pixel phone and eventually to all Android devices, which I think is very interesting. We'll talk about that and more this week in Google continues in just a bit. But first, a word from our great sponsor, Melissa. They've been with us for years. Really love Melissa. They're the data quality experts for over 38 years now. Melissa has helped companies harness the value of their customer data to drive insight, maintain data quality, to support global intelligence, and frankly, to do things that nowadays you got to do, like authentication, to block fraud. All your data, your customer list, your supplier lists, or your contacts are expiring up to 25% a year. Names, addresses, emails change. Having clean, verified data helps customers have a smooth, error-free purchase experience. And Melissa's flexible. It'll fit into your business model no matter what it is. They can verify addresses for more than 240 countries. I think that's all of them, to ensure only valid billing and shipping addresses in your system. And they can do it at point of entry. Melissa's international address validation cleans and corrects street addresses worldwide, transliterating if needed from one system to another, like, I don't know, from Chinese to Cyrillic. Focus your spending where it matters the most. Melissa offers free trials, sample codes, flexible pricing, a guaranteed return on investment, and unlimited technical support to customers. And they are truly global, all over the world. Once you're signed up with Melissa, very easy to integrate other services. We were talking about fraud. Melissa's identity verification increases compliance, reduces fraud, improves onboarding. There's something called Melissa Enrich, which helps you gain insight into who and where your customers are. I didn't know this. They have so many great tools. Melissa's education portal is available to individuals with a valid EDU email address. So if you're a future data scientist, this is gold. This feature is designed to introduce data scientists to the inherent value of data and its global relevance in an ever-increasing range of industries and applications. So check that out. There's a free app for Google Android in the Google Play Store or Apple App Store called Melissa Lookups. You don't even have to sign up with Melissa to validate an address and personal identity in the U.S. or Canada. You can use it to check global phone numbers to find caller, carrier, and geographic information, or do IP address lookup. That's a very handy thing to have, Melissa Lookups. And of course, your data is safe with Melissa. They've actually achieved the highest level of security status by gaining FedRAMP authorization. Now, that's specifically for government agencies, but we all benefit, right? Because that is a much higher level of security. Melissa's solutions and services are GDPR and CCPA compliant. They meet SOC 2, HIPAA, high trust standards for information security management. They do it right. Make sure your customer contact data is up to date. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free. Melissa.com/twit, MELISSA, Melissa.com/twit. We thank them so much. See, we have great advertisers, and we really appreciate their support. We really do. But I think I always have thought it's going to be the community that's going to make a big difference. Somebody's saying, wait a minute, Twitch shutting down in South Korea? No, Twitch is shutting down. That's a perfect example. That's got to be a huge market for them, right? And they say it's too expensive to operate in South Korea. They're shutting down. Wild.
Well, look at Popular Science magazine just died completely.
Oh, that's sad. That's really sad.
Pretty sad.
Yep.
And people say, oh, well, they just had a bad business model, or, oh, they didn't handle it right. No, it's hard. It's
very hard.
Even Kodak, it's a really perfect example because they made their money on film, right? Film processing, film cameras. They knew digital was coming. They were one of the first companies to release a digital camera. People forget this. They knew it was coming. They bought OPhoto and created a digital portal where you get developing done and all this stuff. They did the right thing, and they still couldn't survive. And the reason is the margins on the film and developing business were so much higher than the margins in the digital business. There was just no way to make that bridge. Sometimes it's not mismanagement. It's just the times change. And now we have our Twit tote bag, and we're so grateful. So I'll have to talk to the boss to see if we can offer this. But boy, that's That's a hell of a good looking.
That's great. I love that it's blue.
But Joe, no. I'm sorry, Joe. We love you, but Paris instructed that Leo's face needs to be on it.
It should be a big cartoon Leo face, ideally.
Yeah. Okay.
I do think that would be really nice.
We're giving
Thank
Joe
you
license
for standing up for my
to be
creative
Joe.
integrity, Jeff.
Big news. If we were talking about Bard and Gemini, which is it's a little confusing. That's a new model within Bard. So Bard's kind of like the operating system around it, and Gemini is going to be the new supposedly superior model. They've also created Gemini Nano, which is small enough to fit onto your device, your Pixel 8 Pro, and eventually Android, without needing an internet connection. That's really interesting. Right now,
and this is why they put these high-powered tensor chips on these phones, anticipating this day.
Yep. I was talking on Windows Weekly this morning. Rich Campbell bought a new computer. He bought a Microsoft Surface. It is about the only PC you can buy right now that has a neural processing unit, has a machine language chip in it. All the new Macs do. Almost all the new phones, certainly iPhones and Pixel phones, have this. And I said, it's smart. I would not buy a new computer today that didn't have some sort of neural coprocessor, because you're going to be doing more and more of this stuff, and you're going to do more and more on device. This is a perfect example. So this will run locally. Right now, only the Pixel 8 Pro gets it. It'll be part of the December feature drop. I haven't gotten it yet. Two things on your phone starting today will be powered by Nano. The auto summarization feature in the recording app. So you can record audio, go to a meeting, record it, and get a summary, a to-do list, and action items, that kind of thing. And
when does this start?
Today, but I think you have to get I've been checking every 5 minutes. It hasn't come yet, but you'll have to get the new, you know how they do the feature drop every month.
Yeah.
This will be the December feature drop. Also, Smart Reply in the Gboard keyboard, and these both work offline, which I think is what people want.
Which also is good for privacy folks as well. That your data stays with you, the calculation stays with you. This is where advertising is going to go as well with the sandbox, is that things will occur on your device.
Yeah. Hasibi says it's an incredible model for its size. We'll see. A Tensor 3 processor is the only processor right now on a phone that can run this model, but they're trying to get it into Android with software support, I guess. And of course, Qualcomm announced at their event that they're going to have neural processors in all their new chips. Intel has done that with their very newest chips, and Apple has had this now for some time, starting with the iPhone and then later in the Apple Silicon Macs. As we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I've been doing local models on my Mac, and it's fantastic. It's really interesting what you can do. What
I've got a question for you guys.
Yes.
Leo, Jeff, do you know what the word rizz means?
R-I-Z?
It's not weird. R-I-Z-Z.
No.
I didn't. But I'm going to.
Okay. Give me your guesses. What do you think it means?
What happens when you're old and you can't go to the toilet very well?
You rizz in your pants.
Rizz.
Yeah. Wow.
It is Oxford English Dictionary's word of the year.
What?
Rizz.
What?
If that gives you any context what it could be, it's derived from charisma. It basically means charisma. It's a Gen Z word. I think it's notable because they just announced that it is the word of the year. It beat out Swifty, but someone can have rizz, and that is charisma. How I know of it is there was a absolutely baffling video that went viral earlier this year, which I have in the rundown at line 90, which I was hoping Ant was going to be on this because this is sports related somewhat. It is the phrase Lizzie rizzed up baby Gronk is absolutely meaningless.
Livvy just convinced baby Gronk to commit to LSU. Baby Gronk is the #1 college football prospect in the country. He averages 300 yards and 5 touchdowns a game. On his visit to LSU, Livvy rizzed him up. Livvy even hugged baby Gronk. He might be the
Livvy hugged baby Gronk. She rizzed him up.
LSU to a national championship.
See, that's rizz in a sentence. Livvy rizzed him up.
So apparently,
Baby Gronk.
this started apparently from Tom Holland, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Who said, "I have no rizz whatsoever. I had limited rizz," in an interview with BuzzFeed in June, as in charisma, right? Now it's making a little more sense.
As in charisma.
Yeah.
Yes. I will say, the Livvy rizzed up Baby Gronk also went viral June 6th. So, who's to say whether it was Tom Holland or this inexplicable TikTok man talking about Baby Gronk? I think it kind of has been percolating through the internet for a while.
Yeah.
But it's a word to know. Do you
It's
have any
like on fleek,
youngins in your life?
Right? The first time I heard on fleek, I had no idea what on fleek could possibly mean. And then the problem is I learn it, Jeff learns it, and then nobody uses it, and they go, "Oh, you're so unhip."
No, I think you should look children or people who are Gen Z in the eye and be like, "Yeah, I've got rizz, baby.
I got rizz, baby.
Tell Salt Hank that.
I got rizz. Have you seen my gift bag? It's all rizzed up. It's all rizzed up."
Yes.
Leo, did you ever wear a Nehru jacket?
Yeah.
In the 60s?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Right.
Oh,
See,
Lord.
So it was the coolest thing to be,
the Prime Minister
Johnny
of
Carson
India
wore it.
Yeah. The Prime Minister of India would wear a jacket. Then the Beatles wore it. It was like this. It was basically the same material and the same cut, but it would button at the top, so it had a little notch at the collar. It was called, because Jawaharlal Nehru wore it, a Nehru jacket. But yeah, as soon as it gets popularized, as soon as Johnny Carson wears one.
So I wanted to wear one to church. My parents forbade me. We're going back to all this childhood stuff now. Forbade me to do it. It would be disrespectful. No, you don't do this. No. Huge fight. Then Johnny Carson wore one. And then I was allowed to wear one. But of course, I didn't want to wear one.
Now, do you know who Johnny Carson is?
Oh, geez,
I know who Johnny Carson is.
Johnny apparently had a line of polyester Nehru jackets, so maybe that was probably part of the problem. I wore it. I remember, I've told this story before. I remember I went to a boys' school in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade in Providence, Rhode Island. And when I first went there, you had to wear a necktie and jacket, which was, 7th grader, kind of a lot to ask, but I wore a necktie and jacket.
That is a lot.
But it was the late 60s. And by 9th grade in 1968, they loosened it a little bit. They said, you can wear a turtleneck. For a while, the turtleneck was a dressy, popular choice. So they said you could wear a turtleneck with a jacket or an ascot.
Ooh, I think we should bring ascots back, honestly.
I think we need twit ascots.
I think that's true, actually. That could be our Christmas
cool again.
I'm a 13 freaking year old in an ascot.
Are there pictures? Oh, please tell me there are pictures.
I don't think so. I wish there were, but I did wear an ascot because I didn't want to wear a turtleneck, and I was done with the tie. Ascots seem pretty cool. Basically, for those who don't know, it's a scarf. A little scarf around your neck that goes down into the V. You basically, it was George Hamilton wore an ascot. Right?
Scooby-Doo.
Let us know.
Scooby-Doo wore an ascot?
No, Fred from Scooby-Doo.
Oh, man.
No, that's
Speaking
not
of
an ascot.
interesting neckwear.
That's a tied scarf. That's sort of it.
I have a tiny bolo tie and a tiny cowboy hat that I have for my cat. That was one of the best purchases. She really hates the hat, but she likes the tiny bolo tie because she doesn't know that it's there.
This is an ascot. George Hamilton wearing an ascot.
Yes, that's perfect.
That's it.
Let me note, by the way, very, very important note today, Norman Lear, amazing talent who changed American culture, has died at 101, and I make a rule about this. He was the only person who could get away with wearing an ironic hat. All of you, and you know who you are out there, throw away your ironic hats now. Retire them with Norman Lear.
Was Norman Lear's hat ironic or serious? I think he wore that hat, seriously.
No, he wore it ironically.
He wore it kind of like, oh, this is in fun?
That man is wearing a serious hat. Look at that. That hat is dead serious.
It was his trademark. Absolutely.
It was his trademark, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll be honest. at the time, I wasn't a fan. I don't know. You were a TV critic when All in the Family and Maude and did he do the Golden Girls?
All in the Family, you got it.
I give credit to All in the Family, I guess. It felt very middlebrow to me. So I wasn't, he was lionized, like, this man can do no wrong. Every show he creates is genius. And I thought it was kind of middlebrow.
Sanford and Sons, Jefferson's Maude, except at Good Times. But what did he do to bring black characters onto primetime TV?
A lot. I wish Ant were here to talk about that, because you're absolutely right. Those shows finally put black people on TV as equals. In fact, All in the Family's very, strong and at the time controversial topics of racism, sexism had not really been heard, and they were very pro-gay, and it was very shocking to America, I guess. I mean, it didn't seem so shocking to me.
Well, and where is that? I mean, consider also what sitcoms did for marriage equality. Where is that voice today from American culture?
Yeah.
To deal. Where is the defense of trans people now in?
Isn't that shameful?
Culture?
That's exactly right.
It's incredibly shameful.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, especially in a popular culture that is not only shirking from a defense of like trans fellow citizens, that is like actively picking up the pitchfork and vilifying them in many cases. Shameful. It is incredibly shameful.
Yeah. I don't even get it. I mean, let's pick on people who can't defend themselves. Let's
pick on a incredibly historically marginalized group of people that are already ostracized, that have lived their entire lives up until the point they transitioned in a body that made them feel uncomfortable. Let's make them feel more uncomfortable for making a choice that makes them feel all right in their skin.
It's the ultimate in punching down. It's just it's
which
so
is the
shameful.
point.
Is it the point?
They need a new target. They can't use black people anymore. They can't use
gay people anymore.
So now they can use trans people
and people in drag and drag queens.
Yeah,
the most harmless group in the world. I mean, you meet a drag queen in an alley, you're not like, oh no, what'll I do? You just go, hey, nice.
You're
gown.
like, where's the show?
Where's the party?
Exactly. Am I supposed to? Is there a comedy show going on here? Could be fun.
I just, we have. Honestly, I didn't even know it that we had drag reading at the local library here in Petaluma, and I would never have known except they had protests all of a sudden.
Oh, jeez.
It's been going on for years. Nobody had a problem with it. Anyway, great piece, obituary in the New York Times by Rob Reiner, who was, of course, meathead in All in the Family. Archie Bunker. I do feel bad for Carol O'Connor, who was a esteemed British actor who was never again to be anything but Archie Bunker to anybody in the world. I guess it's both a curse and a blessing if you're an actor to create a character that people only see you as. Anyway, highly recommend the obituary, and thank you, Jeff, for bringing that up. I hadn't put that on the.
Well, it was because of Paris's fashion moment.
Yeah,
that led us. Well, no, actually, I guess I'm to blame for it for the Nehru jacket, which came off of Rizzed. So we went from Rizzed to Nehru jacket to ascot to ironic
and to
hats.
Close the book on that. To answer someone's question in Discord, to rizz someone up means to you've got to exert your charisma towards them.
Nice.
You got to share it, right?
Is it like what is it? The fashion guy for the queer eye, or whatever that's called? Is that rizzing somebody up?
I mean, I think rizzing someone up could be, as demonstrated by the Baby Gronk video, a hug.
Yeah.
It could be, you're hyping someone up. It can be up to interpretation.
No, see, she's being humble right now. I think what's happening is we have an example of it every time, in that Paris's mere presence here
up
among us grandpas is rizzing us up.
She has rizzed us incredibly. Thank you, Paris.
Yes.
Norman Lear flew 57 bombing missions over Nazi Germany in the Second World War.
Wow, I forgot that.
He was a war hero.
What a conversation we're having, guys. Just the vacillations really get me.
And just to go full circle, he never wore a Nehru jacket. But he did.
We know of.
That we know. He did wear the hat. Somebody's telling me in the chat room.
It's called a pork pie hat, right?
It's not. It's a clown hat. It's a kind of a Bozo the Clown hat, I think. I don't know. He apparently started wearing it because he used to pick at his head while he was writing, and he wanted to stop himself from doing that. That's what somebody in the chat room said, right? Anyway, yeah.
Anyway.
Gosh, we have run out of time, and we have so many things to talk about, including Linda Yaccarino's very Unmerry X mess. Golly.
One of my colleague that covers Twitter and Musk said that one of the most notable parts of the story to her was that Yaccarino has generally been portrayed as like widely beloved by the ad industry, but this piece kind of goes into depth about how a lot of Yaccarino's former colleagues told the Hollywood Reporter that she, quote, wrecked the culture at NBCU.
I wouldn't be surprised at all knowing what we know now.
She was good at ad sales, but wrecked the culture, says a former insider. She was not collegial. She was a scorched earth manager.
And I mean, specifically, I think they say that even at NBC, she had an elastic relationship to facts at the company.
Interesting.
That they'd kind of started to see some of these patterns of behavior that we're now starting to see in her tenure at the Musk-related companies.
So what you're saying really is you don't need to feel bad for Linda Yaccarino having to work for Elon Musk. She's in exactly the right place.
I mean, I would also, argue outside of this article, I think anybody who takes a job with someone like Elon Musk has to know what they're getting themselves into.
I feel bad. I felt bad for her. Lisa and I were talking about this. She hadn't seen the hysterical Saturday Night Live portrayal. Did you see that of Linda Yaccarino? I thought I played it on the air.
We played it before the show once. Yet another reason why you should be in the club so you can watch all of us watch Saturday Night Live videos before the show starts.
I love you, Paris. Thank you. Let us, I think we can finally wind this thing up because I've got cookies to eat and miles to go before I sleep.
I'm heading toward 22 hours.
I know, you poor guy. We gotta get Jeff to bed.
I'm pretty well though. I'm doing pretty well. I'm pretty alert.
You're very jovial.
I know. You're surprising, really. You've got, it's surprising for somebody of your advanced age, actually.
Exactly, yeah.
Paris Martineau, what is your pick this week? You said you found one.
All right, I got two. The one that I was talking about before is an app that I've had in my phone for like 5 or 6 years. Great for the fun nihilists in your life. It's called WeCroak.
Sorry, I laughed over you. Say it again.
It is called WeCroak. It's inspired by the Bhutanese folk saying, to be a happy person, one must contemplate death 5 times daily. It's an app that sends you a push notification 5 times a day saying, don't forget, you're going to die. And then if you click on it, you get a fun quote. That's all, mixed up. And so I have had this app on my phone for many years, and it's great because sometimes you're having a bad day or you're stressed out or something's going wrong, and then you get a little buzz in your phone. You're like, this is all meaningless anyway. I'm going to die. And then it's fine.
It's like Paris was the inspiration for my so-called life. I can just envision you with your book bags in high school going through saying, it's meaningless. None of it matters.
Yep,
And I think you did.
Were you a little goth?
She dressed all in black. There's no doubt.
No. Oh, okay,
yeah. All right, I just installed it. Here's my first quote.
It's pretty good.
Of all the events which constitute a person's biography, there's scarcely one to which the world so easily reconciles itself as to his death. Nathaniel Hawthorne. Wow.
It's pretty good. And so I recently I've had this app truly for years, and I didn't realize there was a subscription option as well. So I checked it out a couple of weeks ago. It's called Leap. One, I think you get like harder quotes sometimes or more interesting quotes. I'm subscribing right now. But you also get, which I really like, is this thing called Leaps, which is their weekly challenges. You get a new one every Sunday. And this week's Leap is visit a graveyard and find a gravestone marked with the same first name of someone you care about. Reflect over this grave for a few minutes.
Oh, I used to do that.
There was another one I really liked a couple of weeks ago that said something to the effect of, find the oldest building in your neighborhood and walk over to it, like learn something about its history and contemplate its presence there. And this led me on a great journey of finding I live in a historic neighborhood in Brooklyn, and I found whenever I guess you're petitioning for a neighborhood to be kind of a historic district, they have to write up a whole report on all the different buildings and streets. And I read this report for like hours. It was great. It was a great use of my time.
The visit a graveyard is this week's leap, and only 43 people have done it. So let's all get out there. Pay $20.
Let's all get out there and look at some graves.
I used to do that in high school. I used to go to the graveyard and sit on a grave and try to imagine the person.
Wow, were you also?
Yeah, I think I was something. Me and my ascot. That's a good pick.
My other pick is more positive. This week was the 10-year anniversary for The Information, which is really fun. We had a couple of different anniversary parties, and Vanity Fair wrote up this kind of great piece on our founder, Jessica Lessin.
Yeah, it was great.
How she has survived the decade of media tumult.
They laughed when she sat down on the keyboard, and boy, were they wrong.
Absolutely. It's incredible. I mean, we're going to be profitable this year. We have been profitable many of the years of The Information.
Paris, do you want to buy a podcast company?
They're not that profitable. I guarantee
Probably
you.
not, but I don't know. We'll see. Jessica's starting her own podcast. So
I'm very, I remember when The Information started. I've been a subscriber since day one. I think it's just great. And what a great article and a great picture of Jessica at their Women in Tech, Media, and Finance conference a couple of months ago here in Napa Valley.
And I think it really speaks to the effectiveness and purity of the model, which is, while other media companies were out there pouring money into hiring a TikTok team or a YouTube team or pivoting to video or pivoting to whatever, Jessica was investing money in hiring really good journalists, paying them competitive salaries, and letting them just do journalism.
Is she kind of... Do you look up to her as kind of a role model and a mentor? I mean, I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are very few people in journalism that have been able to escape being just an ink-stained wretch and become the creator of something, and then to have that be a viable business that creates good work and incentivizes good work.
Yeah.
I think as someone who's been laid off, from my last two jobs in media, it's something I think about a lot. Is I really like and respect that she has been able to build a company in which I feel like I can not only exist ethically as a journalist, but that I am incentivized and supported to do my best work.
Bravo, or brava, I guess I should say. Her podcast, I haven't listened to it. I can't wait to. Sam was on, her husband was on Twitter a few weeks ago and told us about it. Sam Lessin and Jessica Lessin with Britt Morin and Dave Morin. They do a podcast together, and those are four.
And it's called More and Less.
More
with the
and Less.
And Lessons, which I think is a very fun name.
And that's talk about power couples. That's got to be a great show. I've got to hear it. So, they had just launched it, I think, when Sam was on. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, those are my picks.
Yay. Jeff Jarvis, what do you got for us?
I want to mention one news story that I think matters and I just came through the UK on the way back from Vienna, so I could take an early morning flight and be here
Thank
in time
you,
for
Jeff.
the show today.
I cannot thank you
or the old
bottom
farts
of my
tomorrow.
heart. Thank you. Yeah.
I may really fall asleep tomorrow.
No, get a good night's sleep because 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. your time.
8 p.m. my time. So
get a good night's sleep. You could stay up till 10.
I'll do it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty old, man. I'm pretty old.
You can take a midday nap.
If you need to rizz in between during the show, you just go right ahead.
Don't say that to a man without a prostate, Leo. So, speaking of prostates, the UK their online safety bit has now putting out the regulations for what it will take to watch porn in the UK.
Oh, great!
You will have to upload a photo ID. The measures being considered: upload a photo ID document, facial age estimation technology, contacting your mobile network provider to allow your phone to access adult content, checking age versus credit card details, and using digital identity wallets. And as people have pointed out on Twitter, porn industry just steals stuff so they can get your data and do bad things with it. So now we have a law that's going to give porn companies, what trustworthy companies they are, personal data. What do you think is going to happen?
It's possible to isolate them, to merely send off to the porn company yes or no, but somebody's going to get all this information, and it doesn't matter if it's a porn company or not.
Yeah,
that's a horrendous violation.
I'm just also saying, and maybe this is a bad take of mine, but is it really the most important thing that we have to be focusing on as a society is whether or not teenagers are able to watch porn? Like, I think we've got more pressing concerns.
Amen.
I agree.
But masturbation has been the topic of moral panic forever.
That's true.
Leo and I have the hairy palms to prove it. What we were told at our age.
You both are blind.
Notice we wear glasses. Yes. Notice. Actually,
so otherwise
it was the book reading that made us nearsighted, not the other stuff.
All that we know is all those computers.
Yeah, we didn't have computers.
Right.
And we were so old, Paris, that we did not have computers until late after college, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I bought my first computer in 81.
Yeah.
I did typewriters before you plugged them in, young lady. You had to have real finger strength.
You're out here filing your drafts via typewriter.
King of finger strength. Okay. I think we can. Anything else anybody wants to say?
No, I'll leave it at that. Pornography was good enough. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll close on pornography.
Although the AI pickleball
nihilism and pornography
was good. I thought it was good, but never mind. We'll save that for another day.
The which story?
The AI pickleball.
It is pretty cool. It is. Okay. Do it real quick.
You tell me, are they? I think, did they not say, I know you go to the U.S. Open every year. You big tennis?
Used to. Big
tennis fan. Did they not say they were going to start using AI for line judging? I mean, they should.
Are now, aren't they? Yeah.
Are they not already? Are they not computer?
Yeah, that's how they're doing it now. They've got all these cameras angled in. No, that's how they do it now.
But it's cameras. Is a human looking at the cameras? Are gone. No. Okay. So it is.
No. It's computerized. Yeah, it has been.
There you go.
So now you can do this on your own. You can use a phone
on your pickleball court,
pickleball and/or tennis. And it will do all kinds of amazing things. It's Swing Vision's AI processes your video in real time to bring you the kinds of shots, whether it's in or out, scoring. It's pretty amazing.
I honestly, I got to tell you, I've been an AI skeptic, but there are so many interesting applications. 10 years from now, just as computers have, over a period of several decades, permeated every part of our lives, AI is going to be everywhere.
I'm not sure that computer cameras are AI, though. I agree.
Well, it's not the camera; it's what it does with it. Obviously, right? It doesn't.
Yeah, it's the fact that it knows the angles and can figure it out.
Same thing with the line judging. Do you have a human looking at the video, or do you have some machine going that's in, that's out? I mean, I think that's kind of AI.
It's changed tennis immensely. There's no challenges anymore. John McEnroe wouldn't be John McEnroe now.
Wow. Well, you can't really swear at an AI, and I think to some degree that's what people are afraid of. Right?
You can always rage against the machine.
Okay, thank you. We have a book cover.
I'm so glad you're here, Paris. I'm so
Me too.
We have a book cover, My So-Called Life by Paris Martineau. And I think that is in the works right now. Or is that your TV show? Might be your TV show.
A little bit of both.
Paris Martineau writes for The Information, where she covers big tech. You see that signal number. If you've got a tip, call her, text her, give her that information, because she is the best.
Hey, listen, I've been working on a great story the last couple of weeks that came from a tip from a listener. So,
what?
Really? There's weird fraud or something strange going on at a company you know of or one of your friends know of, hit me up.
Or just ask her for a WeCroak
It's true,
epigram.
or tell me your favorite nihilistic quote. Both will do.
Jeff Jarvis is the director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Newmark Graduate
Happy
School.
birthday, Newmark.
Happy birthday, Craig.
For
Graduate
just
School
1
of
week.
Journalism at the City University of New York. What's that?
For just
One
one
more
week.
Next Friday is graduation, and that'll be my final official duty. Actually, I'm going to keep teaching one course, but that's never mind.
Oh, okay.
That's what Joan Donovan said, right? Yeah, that's how it begins.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Paris. Thanks to all of you. Thanks especially to our club members. We literally couldn't do it without you. Thank you very much. We do This Week in Google on Wednesdays, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. We do stream it live again. We decided that,
Oh, really?
Well, here's the deal. The idea was let's make it a club benefit. And so we do it in the Discord. That streams the whole time we're in studio working. But the Discord video is so useless, so terrible, that drops out, the audio's bad. So we decided, all right, we'll stream to YouTube, but not the pre and post show, the good stuff that Paris was talking about, just the actual show itself. So the stream will come and go. If you go to youtube.com/twit at the show time, the stream will turn on as soon as we have begun the show. In fact, if you click that bell, you'll get a notification as soon as we start live streaming. So all of our shows will be live streamed. The ones that we do live anyway will be live streamed.
Oh, there you are. Oh,
yeah, I mean, I love having.
The thing is, I was just going to say, Leo, I think you're too nice. If you look at the model of The Guardian, which has also made it work on contributions, it's Kath Viner, the editor, being she who must be obeyed, scolding readers. When you've read a story of The Guardian, don't you feel ashamed of yourself? You just read this journalism.
It's like you've read 17 stories the last year.
Yeah, exactly.
Who do you think you are?
Counting. I can see you. I know.
Yeah, I don't.
You need to become scoldy and British.
No, look, either we're going to make it or we're not. I mean, that's just it. I'm not going to.
That's nihilism for you.
Yeah, I mean,
that's it. Baby.
Nihilism as business model. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, WeCroak.
I got my retirement fund. How about you? I don't know what to say. We're either going to make it or we're not. If you like what we do and you want it to keep going, become a member, because that's going to be pretty important.
True, folks. Yeah. True. Really. I listen. Leo and Lisa pay me some money, and this is very nice, and they shouldn't. They send Christmas presents. I told them not to, but I also joined the club.
Thank you.
Because it's important for us all to support you. We love this community. We love all of you.
Absolutely.
The only way we're going to stay together is if we join.
And I'll be honest, we love our mission. I think creating a community of tech enthusiasts and giving you the information you need to make the decisions in your life to use technology to your benefit is a really important mission, even today. Maybe more so than ever.
Especially today.
Yeah.
Especially today.
So that's our mission, and I want to keep doing it. And if the good Lord willing and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back next week. Thank you, everybody.
This is real, folks. This is real.
We'll see you next time on This Week in Google. Bye-bye. Listeners of this program get an ad-free version if they're members of Club Twit. $7 a month gives you ad-free versions of all of our shows, plus membership in the Club Twit Discord, a great clubhouse for Twit listeners. And finally, the Twit Plus feed with shows like Stacy's Book Club, The Untitled Linux Show, and more. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit. And thanks for your support.